You guys flying?
Moros Navy.
every city you burn, I'm gonna build one high.
Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and it is Friday, June 9th, YC125. And the next time you hear these words, we will be living in Viridian. But until then, this is the Eve Universe Show. Welcome, 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 guys. We have a lot to cover. We want to kind of just jump back into it. So come on in. Settle down, like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, all that sort of stuff. YouTube. Cool, awesome. What we're going to do today, we have, look, they dropped the patch notes. They had a whole new video with Burger and Ratati with some interesting information. We now have an official release date for Viridian, which is next Tuesday, which means that this is my last official stream before streaming opportunity before Viridian is released. So while I do want to talk about the patch notes, and we will focus on all of that stuff, Hoboleaks is updated, all that kind of stuff, I feel like there's going to be a lot of people with a lot of things to say about this stuff. So most of it's going to be wrong, so we're going to try to get to some of it so that to head it off on the pass. But last Uprising stream, exactly. But we are now 4 world news, New Eden news articles behind. So we're going to plow through those first and see what we can learn. And then we will talk about the nitty gritties about Uprising. So yesterday we talked a lot about the changes that were coming in Homefront operations. Hey, 07, thanks for that. Vicky, you're Sugar from Final Fantasy 14, right? I just want to double check because I think that there might have been a second Sugar and I sometimes confuse the two of you. But any rate, I feel like it's important for me to cover the New Eden news, to catch us up on like what's actually leading up to this stuff. I doubt that there's going to be very many Reddit warriors going into those kinds of details. So, anywho, before we drop too much into it, though, if you guys could double check to see if my Discord name is normal. It's weird for me now, so I don't know. All right. Let us see. Nope, that's not the right one. What happened? Oh, yeah, I was going to do this instead. Shoot. I had a different opening, so we're just going to do this. We're going to start with this video because that's what I was supposed to do. Okay. Like literally in my Discord screen. Okay, cool. Awesome. Everybody, look, I'm a bad guild member or free company member. I don't log in. I need to log into Final Fantasy 14 more. Like but in the meantime, everybody else who's interested in Final Fantasy 14, which there just was a big patch, really cool. You need a free company. You need cool stuff. Roll on the Goblin server. You know, have you heard about the MMO free to the meme? But check out Wings as a free company. Sugar is an amazing free company leader. Very supportive. I don't go support her, and yet she's here supporting me. So I appreciate it. Bug me when I need to come on. In the meantime, let's check out this video, guys. Nope, that's not the right one. That is it. monetized for this song. Oh yeah, that's right. You're franchising now. I literally forgot that the frigates were getting upgraded until I read that in the patch notes. So this is the real reason why they had to move Bastion to 60 seconds to give out time for all of the new visuals to show up. Okay. So coming 13th of June, all of that stuff. We have a lot of information. They even dropped the patch notes. But what I find most interesting is what we don't know still, what they've not told us about. But before we go into that, all that, we need to start out with the New Eden news for, what is this, June 2nd? I got it right earlier. I can hover over my calendar and it tells me. No. Here is the New Eden news for, we're going to, let me actually take a step back and explain what's going to happen here. We're actually going to just try to plow through as much of this as possible. So, probably not going to do a lot of deep analysis, and we will, what I want to do is actually, because it feels like this is obviously one story. These New Eden news have been coming out basically one to 2 days apart. So this is like a thing that's happening. So I think that by reading them all together, we'll be able to better understand and like summarize it generally. If we get the Shooter Next expansion, we'll probably get an event related to this expansion too. Yeah. Although, and this is where the paranoia and tinfoil comes in, chances are we won't recognize the event for what it is, at least at first, right? There's a lot of things that are happening right now. Like, I've said this for several years. Having been watching the lore for a while now, I feel like we are living in the prehistory, or the pre-story of the shooter, right? We're living in the background story right now. We're writing the background, the lead up to the shooter through our actions and through this evolving story as we go. So, in the end, we're going to look back at all this and be like, oh, we can see these steps. Everything from Edencom increasing the taxes, to the development of their clone soldiers, to the Ugali situation, to Intaki, to, like, we're going to be able to be like, this, it was all building up to this. Because, like, and that's not even that big of a stretch, because they've been building this, and therefore they've been developing the lore knowing that this is where they're going. So it tracks, right? They've been trying to build a more cohesive, a tellable story, which I think is really cool. Either way, speaking of stories, here is the New Eden news for, once again, June 2nd, YC125. New itinerant forge leads to Edencom migration in Mimitar Republic. Pator Hematar. In a rare joint announcement, Samator Malatushikor, Sebastor tribe chief Acacia Midular, and Viridian tribal chief Isar Sund Urbald have unveiled to interstellar markets the Mimitar Republic's new itinerant forge project. Chief Midular explained, quote, The itinerant forge is a new industrial doctrine using the modular machinery that can be quickly assembled and disassembled, allowing us to deploy our best technologies to any colony. End quote. According to our chief Barald, our tribes have worked together to create a traveling infrastructure. Caravans of industrial ships will move from planet to planet, ensuring that we can build whatever we need, wherever we need it. Scimitar Shakor praised this new development as a, quote, boon for the entire Republic. By stepping outside of the rigid mindsets of other nations, the Itinerant Forge project will unlock a better and brighter future for all Mimitar. Recruitment drives on Republic planets have already signed up millions of citizens to crew the new project's caravans, indicating a significant economic migration to come across the Republic. Chief Midgeler, a noted advocate for greater tribal autonomy, celebrated the project's popularity amongst Mimitar citizens of all backgrounds. I have no doubt that our Republic must allow its tribes and the independence they need to thrive, but that does not mean that our tribes should not cooperate with one another. The Itinerant Forge will help independent communities of tribes to thrive, including the clans of Sebester. But that does not mean our tribes should not cooperate with one another. You know, I expect better than a double negative from a chief. To say that. Many have, not all agree that the project will have a positive impact on smaller communities. Many of those joining Itinerant Forge caravans come from smaller clans with limited employment opportunities. This has led clan chieftains from across the Republic to accuse the project of being, quote, mobile centralization, fearing that their clans will struggle to survive with a reduced labor pool. Quote, many have already left to enlist with the Republic fleet, end quote, said Chief Klaz Guri, a leader of the small Crucial clan holding in a low-sec system of Obvidian. Quote, how will we survive if all of our young people leave to join this traveling industrial circus, end quote. Guri's clan has a long history of harvesting and refining luminous kernite. Only this year, she fears that a lack of people needed to run the clan's refinery or protect their mining fleet from attacks. When asked if she reached out to the Republic for support, Guri responded, quote, what cares to the mountain for the wolf's cries? Quoting From the Flames, an anthology by Turner survivors and outspoken critic of the Republic, Kama Daya. As for whether her words will ring true for Chief Guri's clan, only time will tell. Real quick, the thing that's I think the most notable about this is that they've been setting up a conflict between Midgeler and Shakor. So this agreement kind of comes like as a surprise to that, if that makes sense. You know, it's a good sign, I think. But I think it's interesting that they established like this new Turner group, including this new character, Kamidaya. You know, and the other thing is that I feel like this is setting up a future conflict, right? Like this could go wrong, which require us to do something. Or this is the kind of thing that could go wrong and require more action. Debate on President Agard's United Response Act begins on divided Senate. Valor Essence. President Celis Agard's new legislative program moves forward today as the federal Senate debates the controversial bill for a United Response Act proposed by the Progressive Union and supported by other allies of the president's administration. The United Response legislation has rapidly become controversial as proposals for greater federal oversight of industry, transportation, and taxation at the district level have become more widely known. Proposed with the strong backing of President Agard, the bill has been crafted by a coalition of senators centered from the Progressive Union Party in order to, quote, support the urgent need to reconfigure the economy of the Federation to meet the needs of increased security requirements and threats to our way of life, end quote. Opponents of the bill have characterized it as a power grab, and it has attracted the ire of voices from across the political spectrum. Anyone want to guess who? Left-leaning Federalist liberals such as Senator Suvio Belleron have found some measure of the common cause with even the right-wing and labor populists, as exemplified by Senator Tybalt Taylor. Yeah. President Agard has apparently chosen to press ahead with the measures given the support of the Progressive Union backers and allies such as Senator Farron Shu, representing... It turns out there are like 4 senators in the Federation. Representing Lersatin's Yinmei interests, Senator Shu has long been a hawkish figure in Federation politics, and while strongly opposed to interference by Yinmei culture, has often been happy to back President Agard on the basis of carve-outs and protecting member states and nations from interfering in social matters. It is also believed that In reorienting her legislative focus towards the military and industrial sectors, President Agard has also been able to convert new sociocrat politicians such as Senator Philidor Cassette of Erstron district to her cause. So, yeah, Turner has been popping up again recently in the news. So, what we're seeing already is that the empires, we already saw the Caldari bring everybody home and like begin a much more regimented society with rationing and stuff, basically unifying their efforts. Now we see the Mimitar creating a unified effort. We have the Federation creating a unified effort. Interesting. Autonomous form new Intaki Assembly administration with Social Cooperative Party. Intaki Placid. Following an agreement on a coalition with the Social Cooperative Party, Intaki Autonomous leader Jonas Ivstara has taken up his post as chief counselor of the Intaki Assembly and head of government for Intaki Prime and the wider system. Despite falling short of gaining the majority of the 547 seats, the Intaki Autonomous tally of 202 was the largest number of a single party, given the previous ruling moderate faction led by Vera and Salacio was itself a coalition of Federalist Liberal, Labor Populists, and Social Cooperative parties. Having fallen to a total of 234 elected members, the moderates were unable to build a majority given the implacable opposition of the Autonomous and the Yantey Lepouf party. The key breakthrough came when the Social Cooperative Party agreed that it would work with the Autonomous and added their 63 seats to the bloc being built by Jonas Ivstara. As the Autonomous have already managed to come to terms with a loose grouping of 12 local and independent politicians, the agreement with the Social Co-op Assembly members pushed their new bloc over the line for a total of 277 seats. Despite this agreement, managing the thin majority and potentially fragile Autonomous Social Bloc is sure to be a considerable balancing act for Chief Chancellor Ivstara. The challenge posed by the radical nationalists of the Yantey Lepouf group is also notable, with their 83 elected members constituting a significant group that many sway votes where the governing bloc is at odds with itself. The agreement is a considerable blow to Vera and Salacio, with the moderate faction that had long dominated Yantey politics collapsing, in large part due to the militarization of the Yantey system by Federalist forces and the consequent social and political aftershocks. Her own Federalist Liberal Party remains the second largest with 115 elected members, while the Labor Populist allies have fallen to only 56 seats in the Assembly. So we finally have an election and a change of power within the Yantey. There is a lot of speculation about that. We could probably go into it a lot more at some point. But once again, I see that they're like resolving an issue, but they're also setting up an issue, right? Like they're things move forward, but the tensions remain. That's kind of like the theme of these stories so far. News in brief. Federal Defense Union counter-assault in Placid liberates Almel and Odamia system from Caldari occupation. Go Eagles. Empress Caddis summons full Privy Council to conclave at Imperial Palace in Damsorsad after talks with royal heirs. I wonder what that's about. President Celis Agard meets with prominent new sociocrat senators to press case for United Response Act. Caldari Megacorporation security forces reported responding to several rationing protests in Gita-44 Moon Colony. Society of Conscious Thought urges Concord action on technology, quote, stolen by Guri Malakan pirate group. Federation Automated Industry for Democracy legislation begins final committee stage following economic analysis. So there's a second piece of legislation that's following up the United Response Act. Tribal Liberation Force seizes Harass and Kormonen system as Bleak Land offensive on two fronts continue. Captain Marshal Zerdan Sirkosh reports major progress on a Mar shipcaster program to Imperial Sword Marshals. Concord and Empire Custom Forces monitoring, quote, further increase in traffic through criminal smuggling networks, end quote. Mercantile Club Corporate Script Transaction Resolution Center in Malakan raided by Guristas Commandos. Yay, more pirate stuff. Is CCP fixing the shipcaster? I'm not sure. But in the event that CCP is here, I want to say that I've been thinking about it, and the fix for the shipcaster is incredibly simple and incredibly clear. Just make it so that each ship that uses the shipcaster lands in a random location in the destination system instead of at the beacon. Done and done. Next, the New Eden News for June 5th, YC125. Luminaire Essence. Riot broke out in Kali today as protesters among controversial new government legislation were held across the Federation. An estimate 10 million protesters crowded into Kali, many traveling from the Federation's outer districts to take part in demonstrations against the newly passed United Response Act. The United Response Act, passed into law by a narrow margin at today's full session of the Federation Senate, included provisions that will increase federal oversight of traditionally district administered services. This will grant central federal authorities the ability to exercise lower-level control over a wider range of sectors such as industry, taxation, transportation, and even education. The bill's proponents in a coalition centered on the Progressive Union Party has claimed these changes were necessary for an effective and coordinated war effort. Detractors such as Senator Suvio Belleron of the Federalist Liberal disagree. I think he just lives at the Scope News Center. Like he's just like a commentator. He's like a pundit, not a senator. Anyway, characterizing the act as an unconstitutional bolstering of federal power at the expense of the district independence. The highly divisive legislative split parties such as the Labor Populists and Federal Liberals, giving the powerful Progressive Union bloc sufficient votes to pass the bill against the President Agard's opponents in the New Sociocrats. President Celis Agard, regarded as the architect and driving force of the legislation, addresses its critics before a Senate in Valour saying, just pretend like I sound like Celis Agard. Ready? Diversity and tolerance are the values on which our Federation is founded. The United Response Act does not undermine those values, it empowers them. We live in an age of emergent threats and unknown possibilities. The Caldari shipcaster is one such threat, and it must not go unanswered. I say that we respond with our greatest strength, our cooperation with one another. Together, we will not just unlock this technology for ourselves, but we will ensure that whatever frontier we face next, it will be Gallente that crosses it first. This act gives us the tools we need to stand as one, united in our response and our purpose, ready to face whatever the future might bring. Political opposition in Gallente Senate and streets. Kali, Gallente Prime. While supporters of the president celebrate her call for unity, critics dismissed it as manipulation. At a rally held in Kali Liberty Square, Senator Tribald Taylor of the Labor Populists, one of the bill's most outspoken opponents, responded, quote, "The corrupt elites that have hijacked our democracy thinks that they can turn our own patriotism against us. They use it to justify their interference in the lives of the real Gallente. The people who live far from the shining towers of this once great city and the marbled halls of Valour, the people who have sweat and bled to build the Federation only to be told they don't know how to defend it. Well, I fought the Caldari menace in orbit of the same star that shines down on us now, and I have fought its influences in those marble halls. And I say now to President Agard, you will not turn up late to the battlefield and tell us how to fight." End quote. Following the senator's speech, the city's law enforcement tried to contain protesters they claimed had become unruly. Some protesters turned to rioting, venting their anger by vandalizing a number of businesses founded by Caldari and other foreign interests. President Agard called on rioters to disperse, saying, quote, "While I applaud those who exercise their democratic right to protest, the Federation will not tolerate acts of violence on its streets." End quote. Senator Taylor countered, "If the president spent less time telling the people how to behave and more time listening to them, they wouldn't have to take matters into their own hands." End quote. Okay. So, obviously, things are not going great in the Federation. The controversy of Intaki has kind of spread throughout the Federation. And, you know, this led me to read something from the Eve's source book. Which says, at the very end of, like, the section on the Gallente. So I was looking up the different Gallente political factions, see if I could find them there. But it does say, towards the end of its description, it says, "For all of its shining greatness, the Federation does risk falling into a malaise. Nowhere is this more evident than in its elections, where voter turnout has been consistently declining for decades. While this large federal elections, particularly for the president, has respectable turnouts, local voter turnouts regularly reach new lows. Some believe that this is an unavoidable side effect of the Federation's greatness. If everyone is happy, then they don't feel the need to speak up and make changes. Others believe it's not happiness that keeps voters away, but sheer apathy. with everyone too caught up in themselves to worry about who makes the laws. It does not help that the diversity has created a lack of unifying purpose for many Gallente. While the Amar have their religion, the Caldari have their corporate loyalties, and Minmatar have their clans and tribes, there is very little tying one Gallente to another. There are those among the upper echelons of the Federation who worry that when pressed, everything might easily fall apart. From this, an extreme right-wing counterculture has emerged, which has found heroes in the current head of the Federal Intelligence Mentis Black and his shadowy team of special operatives known as the Black Eagles. This group is rapidly gaining influence in the Federation, and no one yet knows how far their invisible arm will reach before all is said and done. So if you want to throw some paranoia on that, let's also point out, I would like to remind everybody that President Selasegard was assassinated like 2 months before she was elected. So there is some merit to a lot of this conspiratorializing that the opponents of the bills and such are bringing up. There is something odd going on in the Federation, but it's really hard to tell who yet. Federation Navy testing facility in Shardalane damaged by raid of large force of Garistas pirates. More Garistas raids. Captain Marshal Zerdan Sokosh commends Amar loyalist capsuleers as transport relay research nears breakthrough. What's this about being assassinated? Yeah, Selasegard was blown up. She had to recover through a backup clone and had lost time. And then she just got elected, and everybody was totally cool with that. Also, I noticed that, like, there's a lot more of the, like, focus on the senators. And there's also accusations that Quaif manipulated the senatorial elections in the last election for favorable candidates using mind control devices that that used, like, LiDAR technology. So I'm just saying the tinfoil is real, okay? Viridian colored tinfoil. Okay. Big 8 Caldari Megacorps clamped down on foreign and independent media reporting as rationing protests spread. New Intaki Executive Council to prioritize opening talks and demilitarization with federal administration. Full Imperial Privy Council conclave dissolves as Theology Council assembles for Imperial audience. Kirkin Risk Control and Algental Corps PMCs hand prisoners and evidence from Ugalis over to derail. Wrong group. Wrong group. All right. Shardalane attackers identified as members of the Hemmet Harriers raiding group by DED analysis. So Hemmet Harriers are a Garistas group that are associated with the Easter event a lot, but there's a skin involving them. Tribal Liberation Force captures Sycamon and Huala systems as Minmatar offensive in the Bleak Lands continue. 24th Imperial Crusade seizes control of the Potiphron system after deep attack in force behind Minmatar lines. Federal Defense Union extends territorial gains to Placid to Anchuit system as fighting on multiple fronts continue. And Sorrow Red Troop unit tracking multiple renegade war clone unit guilty of collaboration with Triglavians and other war crimes. I'm sure Sorrow. So that is this is the 5th, right? Yeah, so we're now on to the 5th. Moving on to June 7th, YC125. Empress Catus proclaims Imperial Edict offering path to freedom through service. Amar Throne Worlds. Empress Catus I has proclaimed an Imperial Edict offering slaves the option to volunteer for special military services with their holders' permission. Those who do will be freed after 5 years of service. The edict was also retroactively applied to selective individuals who have already met its requirements. The edict comes as the Privy Council has enacted a series of reforms enhancing the Empire's war footing. In particular, the major houses, as direct vassals of the Empress, has been granted greater latitude over their fief, but are required to pay an additional war tax and provide more troops levied to the Imperial throne. The royal houses have reportedly agreed to extend a similar set of privileges to the minor houses that are their direct vassals and will augment the imperial military circuits under their control with war levies. To oversee these measures, Empress Catus I has appointed Lord Aslan Ulkosh as the new imperial chancellor. Lord Aslan is the head of the powerful House Kosh, holder of the imperial planet Oris, and has recently been administering the throne worlds on behalf of the Emperor family. Lord Aslan is the first cousin of Captain Marshal Zerdan Sirkosh, head of the imperial war effort to reclaim the Minmatar's rubble provinces. It's fine. We're fine. I'm sure it's fine. This is where I make the joke that was probably going to make me demonetized, which is that, like, I've been accusing Caldari of being a bit fascist a lot recently, and then the Amar go and literally say work sets you free, and that's all I'm going to say about it. Empress Kattis broadcasts edict to the greater Amar Empire. Dam Torsad, Amar Prime. The military emancipation edict for the Privy Council reforms were announced in a live broadcast watched by trillions across the greater Amar Empire. The broadcast concluded with a speech by the Empress from the Imperial Palace in Dam Torsad, setting out her vision for the Empire. Quote, I see a people driven from their homeland for their faith. They adapt, they thrive, and God sees fit to grant them a great emperor. They become stronger, and their Lord grants them a planet, then a star, then hundreds more like it. Through the power of their faith, and under the guidance of their divine leaders, they build a mighty empire. I see a people too comfortable in their halls of gold. They have been granted so many gifts that they have grown fearful of losing them. Time out. Is she talking about the holders, or is she talking about Capsuleers? Yeah. They are suspicious of any change, for they have so much that they dare not lose. Then, when change comes anyways, they find their destiny challenged. First by the Jove, sins of the old world brought back to life. Then by the rebellious children of Matar. Then by the evil of the Drifters and Triglavian invaders. Their empire shrinks, and they cast their eyes upward and ask, why? I see a people shining bright among the stars. They have faced many trials, but they are bold enough not to be humbled by them. They know their faith is too strong to be shaken by any challenge. They have learnt to adapt, to thrive, not outside their faith, but fortified by it. Secure in God's light, they renew their faith, return to the foundations of Scripture, and build an empire secured by mastery of the very stars entrusted to them by their Lord. I am your Empress, chosen of God, and in my heart I feel his will guiding me. Let me show you the way, so that we might be bold once more, so that we might thrive. Let us rise the banners of the faithful, and proudly declare, this is the empire of Holy Amar, and none may stand against it. On hearing these words, crowds massed in public squares and basilicas to hear the speech cheered in approbation and pledged themselves to the Empress's vision of Amar. However, rumors have since surfaced that a number of notable holders expected to attend the announcement in person in Dam Torsad canceled their plans at the last minute. The scope approached officials of the Imperial Court for comment, but received no response. So, again, like, what we're seeing is centralization of power and the rise of the seeds of internal conflict. The key here is that Kattis I is an incredibly shrewd businesswoman and politician. She is very good at setting up her opponents for failure and setting up her allies for success. It just so happens that the way that the lines get divided, I am pretty sure that Kattis and her allies the opponents of Kattis, I should say, are the most slave-focused. So this particular change, since it's open, and allows certain houses to look good and certain houses to look bad. This is very much like, again, I guess for further demonetization, during the Civil War, there was that offer for, black people to become emancipated if they fought in the war. That was in part to get soldiers, but it also was in part to undermine those who wanted to preserve slavery, right? So, Yeah, interesting. Going to have to keep watching it. News in brief. Protests over Federal United Response Act continues as Automated Industry for Democracy bills goes to full Senate. Imperial Navy begins construction of a Mars stellar transmuter in Ohide as an interstellar shipcaster in Mechator. Some disruptions on Minmatar core worlds as tribes adjust to the Republic's new economic and industrial plans. Captain Marshal Zerdan Sirkosh holds military emancipation ceremony in Mechator HQ of Combined Fleet Group Damas. This is weird. I'm gonna have to see if Combined Fleet Group Damius is ever mentioned before, but I don't know what a military emancipation ceremony is. Samatar Maltishakor dismisses military emancipation edict as never mind. Yeah. Wait. Did they actually name it up here? I think that the military emancipation edict is the thing that they're talking about here. That makes sense. It's also worth noting that Zerdan Sirkosh is very pro the thing, and also the other Kosh is there. There already was, like, direct calling out between those loyal to Sirkosh and the Empress and those loyal to, like, Artishper and Sorum, for example. What's up, Marcus? Samatar Maltishakor. Oh, yeah, we already just said that. Samatar Maltishakor dismisses military emancipation edict as, quote, standard theatrics from the Amar to justify tyranny. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense because, like, from the Minmatar's perspective, it's like, no, you're just basically making slavery more okay, which, you know, they obviously don't like. Muted responses to Imperial Edict from Caldari State and Gallente Federation as political upheavals occupy authorities. The joke I made about this was like, it was like, you can imagine like the news reporter is like, oh yeah, the Amar is saying this. What does the Minmatar have to say about it? Now cut to the Gallente and Caldari's response, and it's just like everything's on fire, and it's like, we'll check in on them later. Rationing protests on Jita 44 moon colony suppressed by Space Lane Patrol as unrest continue in other Caldari territories. Republic authorities begin relocation of refugees from Angels, Essen, and Ugidi constellations out of temporary camps. Amatar fleet units in battle with escaping Angel Cartel vessels after destroying pirate research facility in Futjang system. So, Angel Cartel, Garistus, both of them are being called out quite a bit. Those were the people that were in agreement as part of the Guri Malakan. So, keep an eye on that. All right, so this is the one from the 7th, which is 2 days ago as of this recording. And then, of course, today we have... Where is Futz? I don't know what Futz is. Illegal Workers Union condemned as protests spread throughout Caldari space. Oh, right. Never mind. The system. Yeah, it's next to Podion. Which is the news article from today, the 9th of June, YC125. That's a great picture of the state. I think that's a new picture. I think that's 100% a new picture of... if we assume that the other ones are all Arcuro, this would also be a picture of Arcurio, which kind of tracks. Hard to say. Could be somewhere else. New Caldari Prime. Civil unrest in the Caldari state over new rationing has reached a new height as the Illegal Workers Union declares plans for stoppages. According to a statement issued by workers from each of the big 8 megacorporations, strikes will be held throughout the state unless their demands are met. These demands include an end to rationing, protections against forced conscription, and abandoning the employee corporate classification system. Signed by the United Champions of Freedom, invoking a reference to the Brotherhood of Freedom, who led a violent uprising against the corporate state over 15 years ago. The statement was delivered via statewide broadcast over hijacked channels. The reader of the statement has been identified as Sumali Dain, a former official of the Wiakomi Corporation State Union, as Wiakomi affiliate to the Caldari State Workers Union, and WCSU has been quick to disavow Daing as the newly formed United Champions of Freedom, UCF, and as agitators who refuse to do their duty in a time of war. The UCF statement went on to say, quote, "Our concerns were brought before the corporate and state unions and fell on deaf ears. We have tried to organize protests by peaceful means, and we have been denied. Now we secure our rights to protest by force. We will not be silenced, nor will we fail to defend ourselves in the face of state-sanctioned violence, end quote. This has raised concerns that there may be a connection between the UCF and reports from several corporations' manufacturing facilities that a number of military vessels and armaments have gone missing. CEP Chairman Aki Makasaraki has refused to acknowledge the illegal UCF union or respond directly to their statement. Executive General Heike Torigo was more forthcoming and told the Scope, quote, "The state will not tolerate the theft of state assets or disruption of our critical infrastructure. Any who plan to participate in such activities can expect to feel the full force of the law. Though we always aim to resolve industrial disputes peacefully, we will not be cowed or held hostage by criminal and rebels." End quote. Corporate security forces are responding to a number of incidents being described as, quote, criminal disturbances and terrorist actions across the state. It's worth noting that the state has quite a few, like, we all know the Guristas, but there are a lot of, like, semi-criminal mob families, that kind of stuff within the state as well. So, yeah. Federation Senate passes Automated Industry for Democracy Act with comfortable majority. Valor Essence, the Gallente Federation Senate, has passed the Automated Industry for Democracy Act into law, despite ongoing protests over the United Response Act. 2/3 of the Senate backed the bill proposed by President Salazar, which loosens the legal restrictions on AI development. This includes updated definitions of restricted AI that is no longer in conformity with all of Concord's guidelines. Dun, dun, dun! President Agard has refused requests to comment on any differences between the new Federation legislation and Concord's more stringent recommendations, but was willing to say that she took the view that the Federation's previous laws have been outdated. The president added that, quote, "In order to maintain a competitive advantage, the Federation must not be afraid to play to its strengths. Advanced robots have always been one of those strengths. The AID Act will free our citizens from drudgery with more efficient automation. Let machines do repetitive and taxing work. Let the people use their talents to build a better future and a stronger democratic nation." Concord's Department of Restrictions on Artificial Intelligence and Life, DERAIL, has issued an official statement condemning the changes to the Federation law as reckless and short-sighted. When asked if Concord leadership has any plans to intervene, representatives were quick to play down any threat of bringing the matter before the inner circle of Concord or Concord Assembly, but added that, quote, "We will be watching closely and judging any further development by our own standards, not by scales adjusted to suit any single empire or nation." So, do you want to get rogue drones? Because that's literally how we got rogue drones. So the thing, okay, once again, we're seeing the justifications for home front operations and new industrial activities, and at the same time, new weak points, trigger points, catalysts that are being set up, right? Like if the Gallente double down on automation, that while at the same time we have increasingly sophisticated cyber worms and Ugali AI and Triglavian influence and all that stuff, like that AI is also vulnerable. Also, Iris is a thing, so whatever. News in brief. Federation Vice Admiral Farina Ravelli meets with Chief Counselor Jonas Ivstara to discuss security of Intaki system. Caldari Navy Marines institute lockdowns of critical military zones on G244 trade hub as protests spread. Minmatar Tribal Council meets to discuss new industrial policy, economic migration, and military recruitment. By the way, I want a scope video, or a trailer, but probably a scope video, as part of the expansion, and I want to see what Kali looks like and G244 looks like now that all of this stuff has happened. I seriously want to see the streets. Well, I really want to see a better view of the glittering streets of Kali, don't get me wrong. But, I think that I really hope that this is setting up the fact that we're going to be able to see these striking differences and be like, oh, things are happening. Minmatar Tribal Council meets to discuss new industrial policy, economic migration, and military recruitment. Former associate of Esri Hakazosu, Baristas, reportedly assassinated by Osman surveillance kill team on Hasiota Station in Nukin System. Protesters in New Rhines pushed back from family resistance by President Agard by Mai's 4 planetary gender arms. From family residents of President Agard's. So there was protesters outside of the family of Agard's house. They had the gender arms push them back. Wiakomi Peace Corps troops carry out sweeps of Jita 44 Trade Hub, dark sectors in search for terrorist cells. Amar Empire's holders reaffirming oaths of loyalty to emperors and heirs following military emancipation edict and reforms. Former President Jacques Rodin hosts informal meeting of Gallente industrialists to discuss United Response Act. It's worth noting that Rodin's political career began because the Federation was trying to take control over the industrial sector, and he refused. Right? He was the rebel. He refused to let the government get their fingers into Rodin shipyards. That's what catapulted him into a political sphere. So that's probably worth watching. 410 Commission on YC125 election attacks holds secure session with Senate Defense Committee. It's almost like they want us to remember that Celis Agard was in fact assassinated 2 months before being elected. I wonder why. Ministry of War's slave recruitment ships begin visiting major industrial and agricultural worlds of Amar Empire. Republic Justice Department and Republic Security Services in jurisdiction dispute over disturbances among Turner refugees. Commando Zohar Assault Group strikes a Society of Conscious Thought Kitsch in Geminate region according to unconfirmed reports. That's a pretty bold strike. Derail and Sorrow invoke exigency? Oh, hold on.
Exigency.
Urgent need or demand. Derail and Sorrow invoke exigency clause powers over orbital infrastructure and Pegalar constellation under Directive Omega 15. Oh man. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can quickly Google this and see if it pops up. Yes. Right. Okay. So this here is the document. This is the Code Aria inquiry, which is basically the summary of the Concord analysis of what the hell happened when the drone with rogue drones in the drone lands. So where does the words? Hold on. Yeah, Omega 15. Where? Shoot, I've seen that. Let's see. There it is. Concord Directive Omega 15. The Concord Directive Omega 15 REF2 clearly states that acceptable and in-force application of the Orphis incident. The relevant sections are reproduced here. Under the terms of Concord apply law in Empire space, see Directive Alpha 1-2 BA. No persons, company, organizations, or governments, including sub-organizations such as described within Appendix A543 may, at any time or place, conduct themselves in research to any kind of cognitive, self-aware artificial intelligence program or entity. Included under this heading, but not exclusive, are shipboard AI, station AI, drone AI, military AI. So Iris seems like a flagrant disregard for that one. A full list of prohibited entities can be found in Appendix A2132, and such research is prohibitively outlawed, and any infractions by any such persons or groups will result in arrest, seizure of all assets belonging to said persons or groups, and prosecution under Directive Omega 15, which carries a level 5 punishment. So, Derail and Sorrow invokes... What did we decide it was? Urgent need or demand. So, Derail and Sorrow invoke urgent clause powers over orbital infrastructure and Pegalar constellation under Directive Omega 15. What is that document called? The Code Aria Inquiry. What is a level 5 punishment? I have no idea. So Pegalar constellation is that's a Yagalis, right? I'm not crazy. Yeah. Let's make the lore more interesting by making it all about political, like, caucuses and legalese. Light-Eye Protection Services mobilizes security forces in Kanaka as strike reported across mining and processing colonies. Yeah, it's Ugalis. Oh. If anybody's interested, I have a video called the Ugali situation. It's a little bit old now, but it's probably pretty up to date. We might want to go back and look at it at some point soon. But yeah. All right. Well, that's it for the New Eden news. So we get to talk now about the actual stuff we know about the expansion. So before we jump in, I'm going to say thank you for watching. If you're watching this on the edited stream, please make sure to like and comment. What I will say is, what conspiracy do you feel got most supported by these news articles? Is there something that you now believe that you didn't before? Is there something that you're afraid of that you weren't before? Or do you think that I have been huffing the tinfoil too much? You can comment that below, but only after you've liked the video and heard my sincere thanks for listening to all of this, hanging out with us, and our sponsors, of course, the top sponsors, which are Abyssus, Aikawarazu Chan, Arkas Ilring, Arydanika the Queen, Belligerent Neckbeard, Black Rose Noble, Dajat Lemmont, Drake, Golden Age Stories, Kun, Lumi, Malak Starfire, Midnight Space Monkey, Not Just Fun, Seeds of Plenty, Serenolin with No Eyes, Syliana Vel'ash, Tgen Tgen, Nephilim, Grendel, Yantey Lepouf, Zaul Nex, as well as my Immortal tier supporters, 745 MPSI, Ebo Leet, May, Merc Utan, Nihilum, LM1, Rid, and I'm just going to throw in there Sheesh. Thank you guys so much. And if you're watching this live, hang tight. We're going to keep talking. But if you're watching this edited, once again, thank you for watching. I've been Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and I'll see you in Viridian. All right. Now then, next topic, or kind of. So what I want to do now is take the what we just learned, what we heard in the world news. We now have been, like, we know what's going on. So I think that that will help us understand some of the patch notes, in particular the home fronts. So let's look at patch notes. Patch notes for Viridian. So again, I want to clarify. This is patch notes for next Tuesday. We're going to go with 13th, which is significantly earlier than we thought it was going to be. But I do want to point out that we did actually have a really strong clue that this was happening. There were several interesting clues. We talked about a couple of them yesterday, but the biggest clue we actually kind of missed. I found it on Reddit, and I'm sort of sad, which is that this article, which was posted on the 31st of May, the last line is, negotiations are ongoing and the precise package of new economic and technology regulations to come is expected within the next 2 weeks. They did the same thing in Uprising. Basically, this was them telling us when the targeted patch notes were. So, yeah. Yeah. So we should have known better. But here we are. Nobody wanted to believe that it was... I certainly didn't want to try to tell everybody that it was going to be the 13th, because that seemed very optimistic. But that's where we're at. All right, so first and foremost, corporation projects. The ability to power... We went over a lot of this stuff yesterday, a lot of the analysis of it. We're going to go over new stuff here. If there's basics that you want to go, I recommend going back and watching that video. Yeah. But... so corporation projects are basically a new tool to coordinate and communicate between leadership and members and be able to see and track on every level what is happening as far as like mutual goals within the corporation alliance. I think this is really critical because corporations have always been about like coalescing over mutual projects. but it's always been super wonky to do so. It's been kind of honestly awkward that Eve is missing what feels like a core piece to what it feels like it should be about. And I think that this is a huge step in going in correcting that mistake. Yeah. I consulted the AI and they said that you must like the stream. Oh, right. And actually, I'm going to play an ad real quick and sip my coffee. Her job to be slightly easier, slightly more straightforward. I'm a drone boat lover, so no shock. I love anything new to drone boats. Hey, that's fine, Riley. I actually think that it's still useful anyways, because I'm telling YouTube where to put the ad even on the replay. I'm pretty sure that's why it's important to hit it at the right times. But either way, we're going to try to stick to one flavor of tinfoil today. All right, so there's different kinds of projects available. There's manual. Actually, before we jump into the details, I want to put this into your guys' mind. The thing that... A lot of this has me excited. But the thing that has me most excited and most interested is the things that are not talked about here. The things that, you know, they gave us the patch note early. They gave us weeks of dev blogs, very well communicated. They did multiple streams, including one today with both CCP Burger and CCP Ritati. They've communicated so much about this expansion, and yet there are several critical details that are strangely still unknown. So to me, it's not even about the shape of the elephant that we can see, but rather the missing pieces that are clearly there, but we won't know about possibly until Viridian actually launches. So let's keep that in mind. But there's also just a lot of little tiny details that maybe these patch notes are not quite sufficient enough for. And also, Singularity is still on VIP mode, so we can't go and test it out for ourselves yet. We will probably be discussing all this stuff on in the Discord for the rest of the weekend. In fact, directors, I want to have a kind of an emergency meeting this Sunday. So between you guys, figure out doing that, and we'll do that because we need to talk about a lot of things. Make sure we're all on the same page. Well, the shooter. So Aegis is a critical part of the shooter. Yeah. All right. So I missed your take on the Caldari news. I mean, which part of the Caldari news did you want me to respond to? Because there wasn't much to say besides more generic. But we said tomorrow for the meeting? Okay, fine. No, if there's a different time for the meeting, let me know. I'll show up. But there just needs to be a meeting this weekend. All right. So the manual one allows you to basically say anything, right? And this one is closer to, like, on our bounty board, we can have tasks that aren't necessarily something that are, like, whatever. I could even say our goal is to have 4 recruiters, right? Or we could say our goal... The other advantage to the manual one is that it's useful for high-level stuff. One of the things that CCP, I think it was Ritati mentioned, was the idea about being able to see all of the levels of the thing. So you can make the goal, like, okay, we're going to build a T2 Dread. That's the goal, right? That's the top level goal. 1 T2 Dread. But then there's all these different steps, sub goals. We need to have this much of this stuff, this much of this stuff. So there's different, turn-in goals, different mining goals, different all this stuff. And so we can watch as the whole thing progresses all the way through. And that is kind of neat. It's going to take a little, setting up and stuff by people. But, like, in my opinion, this actually catapults project management into a proper game mode in Eve, where we've always needed proper management or project management, but we've never had the correct tools for it. Which brings me to my point, which is that as I've said before yesterday, this needs to not be CEOs and directors only. There needs to be a project manager role. I need to be able to have a project manager that doesn't have director level access. That is it gives me the willies. Ironically enough, we have enough actual proper directors within our alliance to get away with it, but like I know that that's like strategically and riskily wrong, right? Like the common wisdom is to never have any proper like true directors, because those are giant risks. But either way, I digress. You can have deliver items, which are, they've stressed that they want to automate the buyback process of it, but for now it's not, the payout of it isn't automatic, but people can still deliver and it collects it in a specific hangar, which is pretty cool. Destroy non-capsuleers. So this says destroying non-capsuleers. Oh yeah, that's ratting. So if we want people to rat or move or do stuff in a specific area, or even track, you know, how much people are doing in that area, this would be a good one. So yeah, damage to capsuleers in a PvP fight. A member can contribute to this project by dealing damage to another player. And then mine ore, a project to mine ore. So like, for instance, if I'm doing faction warfare, right, we can now make a role. So let's say I want to take the Aboon system, right? I can now make a goal to kill 1,000 non-capsuleers and do 1,000,000 damage within the next, you know, however long that's reasonable, right? So now, and then combine that with the LP tax. Now I can tell everybody basically exactly where they need to go and track contribution towards those objectives. So while there isn't a take this system objective, I can use the components that they have given me to basically point people in the right direction. I could foresee a Logi project too. We were talking about that yesterday, and all of my arguments about why there wouldn't be a Logi project have basically been destroyed. So, yeah. Wait, what is he doing tomorrow? Who, me? Apparently we're having a meeting. If you're in COE. And so I also really like the mine ore one, because, so check it out. We can, when you pop a moon, it tells you how much of each ore it comes out of the moon. So we can set a goal to mine that much ore in that system, and then everyone who's mining can watch and see as a progress bar how much we have carved through the current moon mining project, you know, today's moon. And we can track the different kinds of ore to better incentivize people who are going after maybe not the most expensive ore, right? We can pay a little bit, or we can give a little bit of extra or an augmentation to people that are buying, that aren't, you know, going after the most favorable ores. And, or maybe what we could do is we could not make a goal for the better ore, and only make a goal for the lower class ore that needs to be mined but isn't cherry picked. And that way we can track that better and incentivize it. It's got a lot of potential. You can have up to 100 active projects. There's also access to a special tab for each project that displays each member's individual progress towards a goal on an active project and how much they contributed when the project is completed. We need a project manager role. IMO, it still needs scan signatures too for wormholes. Oh, Malcolm, I like that one. That needs to go like features and ideas forum. Like seriously, that's a solid one, because scanning signatures is one of those things that is hard to game, and a lot of, like, it's not just wormholers that want signatures scanned. Like that's a good one. Especially since, so, like, one thing I would like to see is that you can say specific solar system. I would like to see that changed to just be a specific, like all of these ones that are specific solar system, to solar system, constellation, region, or band of space, right? So I should be able to select like all of the systems in a particular constellation, especially if we're doing like missions. You know, missions will usually take you a couple of jumps. So like if I want to incentivize missions by doing destroy non-encapsulators, doing it in a specific system isn't going to help because most of your missions are going to be one of like 4 different systems. And likewise, you know, if we're doing a faction warfare campaign, you know, like the Pegler constellation becomes a big deal. Well, I want to be able to incentivize the entire Pegler constellation. Likewise, I want to be able to incentivize signatures scanned in wormhole space, right? Or signatures scanned in lowsec. I think I like that idea. Corporations with an office in either station or upwell structures will have a new hangar called projects. This hangar can have items dropped into it that are required to progress the deliver items project, unlike other corporation hangars. This one does not have a configurable access and is only accessible to either the corporation CEO or directors. Other members have drop access only. I wonder if the minor object can also be targeted towards ice and gas. I find it strange that it does say or. So maybe not, but that's a good thing. That's another one that it probably should. Ice mining specifically, yeah. No, actually, that's seriously true. Like, because I need to incentivize getting a specific type of ice so that way we can have the isotopes. Air opportunities. Also, that is one of the biggest problems that we've ran into when it came to our bounty board. Is, you know, people turning in the refined thing versus the base thing, because like in our tool we were able to say like, well, we want to build this thing, but that thing requires all these things, so there's these sub pieces to the project, but you can only specify one type of thing. So it's like, well, do I specify that I'm building fuel blocks? Do I specify if I need the ice, or do I specify if I need the isotopes? Because if I specify I need the isotopes, anybody who turns in ice won't get counted, and vice versa. So if I can track the actual act of mining the ice itself, that feels like a much better metric. IMO, we need a new role called project manager or something. I agree. All right, so then air opportunities. This is a new interface which replaces the old journal and is intended to be a counterpart to the agency. Where the agency is a catalog of content, opportunities is a presentation of content now available now and could be of interest to you. The project tab and the air opportunities window are inherently linked. Clicking a project within the projects tab bring a member of the project's entry in the air opportunities window. For corporation members simply looking at a project to work on, the air opportunities window will be their primary means of accessing corp projects. Now, okay, I think that this is probably one of the things that got under my skin the most of these changes, but I have cope, guys. I have cope. Ready? So I harp all the time about trying to unify that people go to one place for information, which is why I want the agency rebranded as Aura and the show info stuff to be moved in there. So we have an encyclopedia of Eve that people can just go to and they know where to get their information, right? That's my thing. So when I saw this, all I saw was, why do we have further fragmentation of the UI, right? Why couldn't this have been in the agency? So let's talk about both the in-universe and out-of-universe reasons why this is, okay? The first is, at least it's replacing a window rather than creating a new one. Yeah. Well, I mean, the agency replaced several windows when it came out. So the thing about this UI is that it unifies corporation projects, air opportunities, and anomalies into one section. So it's like the things to do page. And there's no things to do page in the agency as it is, because each thing is kind of segregated into its own tool, right? So there isn't really, you know, if you wanted to put air opportunities into the agency, that would make sense. If you wanted to put corp projects into the agency, that would make sense. But if you wanted to have a UI that had both of those things together, it doesn't quite fit the template that the agency has made. However, I have a much more conspiratorial, tinfoily, and in-universe explanation. So, In 2000, I think 16, whenever Upwell was created, the FIO dossier fell into the hands of the Deathless, thanks to our old pal, I think, Leopold. That was transferred over to Upwell, and Upwell began using that data in order to strike at Serpentis locations. This was decided by the Empires as being like, well, you're not like, this is a consortium with information that the Empires don't have, and that's not acceptable. So they pressured them to distribute that information. Around that same time, Scope News Network had recently become independent. They had gotten their independent license. And so Scope stepped in and became the contracting agency for what was the first one was the Shadow of the Serpent event. So that way Upwell could broadcast to us the locations and we could take care of the Serpentis instead. 1 year later, the Scope News brokering service was purchased by a mysterious organization that was thought to contain the Ostakon Agency, Intara Direct Action, and at least one other, which strongly connects them to the Deathless. Now, the Deathless has stopped apparently working with the Ostakon Agency as much since that point because he focuses more on Mimitar and Mimitar and Kaldari pirate groups. But the Ostakon Agency was originally tied to the Deathless and seems very much connected to the agency. And this was brought into sharp relief 1 year ago when the Deathless hacked into Concord systems, took over the agency, and began distributing the location of Concord sites to us so that way we could attack Concord as well as his own people during the Cops and Robbers event. I feel like that was a shock moment for the Empires. Like, they can't, like, we are a barely contained monster, right? That they can't, like, the Empyreans are too powerful for the Empires to ignore, but at the same time, or like to forego, but at the same time, we're incredibly dangerous. So how to control us, how to reward us, how to encourage us to do what they need us to do rather than kill their people is something that's very important to them. And so the knowledge that the agency is actually under the control of the Deathless is a huge, huge threat to them. But what do? Like, they can't like have a whole upheaval right then and there and disrupt measures. No, we gotta have a plan. We gotta transition and remove the power from the Ostakon Agency and the agency UI. Okay, so what do? We have a new group, the AIR, right? The Associations for Interstellar Research, which takes on the mantle of leadership and training for Capsuleers, right? So now everybody's dealing with the air career air programs, and the air has also somewhat taken on Aura as their kind of mascot, right? So air coming out with a tool that is very similar to the agency, but not in the agency. This is now in universe a competing offering. And so if for some reason CCP would someday listen to what I've said and rebrand the agency as Aura, this would be the way to do it, right? Air opportunities show up, this new UI happens, everybody starts using it, it reduces some of the power of the agency gets called out, the agency is shut down because the pirate uprising, because what's his name? The Deathless reveals himself at some point, and oh look, Air takes on the brokering service business and puts Aura in charge of it, and now we have Aura instead of the agency. That is my blanket of cope from me to you. Let's carry on. Corporation loyalty points. Corporation taxes were only contributed by members via NPC bounties and also automatically. Hey! Glad you liked the theory. All right. Loyalty points are contributed for all loyalty point payouts, such as those granted through factional warfare, incursions, or mission rewards. Evermarks are excluded from this as they're granted to corporations on a 1-to-1 ratio. Corporations now have their own loyalty point wallets and accounts for loyalty points. Loyalty points can be spent in loyalty points by either CEO or directors. We need a new role. And works in the same way as loyalty point store purchases, except for the loyalty points are deducted from the corporation loyalty point wallet. Look, I'll just say it this way. We don't even need a new role here.
Take over with air and agency.
We don't even need a new role here. Just if you can buy off the market on behalf of the corporation wallet, then why not just have the loyalty point wallet be a separate wallet? Yeah, it is, but you know, Danny, that's actually the reason why a lot of people transition over to like using their own tool for chat. Well, it's one of the reasons why people actually like stream on YouTube, but like have all of their infrastructure and memberships and chats and everything managed by like their own website. And, you know, it allows you to control such things. And also get more money. At least until, you know, YouTube changes the policies. Corporations now have their own loyalty point wallet. Loyalty points in corporation loyalty point wallets can be donated to any other corporation, and Evermarks are excluded from being traded between corporations. So you cannot give loyalty points from a corporation level down to a member, but you can do it from corporation to corporation. So as a corporation, we can collect loyalty points, and like let's say Malro runs a whole bunch of road and shipyard loyalty, stuff because we need the Nexus chips. Aderon obviously generates an infinite amount of FDU LP. So now, rather than figuring out how to get point A to point B, we can just literally collect the LP on Malro and trade it over to Ader and back. That's really cool. I mean, like, there's no difference. Like, unlike the Evermark thing, there's no difference between a person purchasing something with loyalty points and a corporation purchasing things with loyalty points. So people can collect it, and then you can buy the things, and then even distribute those things if need be. So this is a pretty profoundly large. Like, people have been asking for the ability to sell and trade loyalty points for a long time, and this is potentially a low-key huge deal. But yeah, we'll see about that. Super current. Also the tax rate is going to be default by 0%. There's a lot of people that have a lot of things about this. I personally think that one of the good ideas about this would be that a corporation would highly tax the loyalty points of a corporation of their members, like not in faction warfare, but other elsewhere, because most people don't actually like realize the value of their LP, and by that I mean they don't cash it out. So that can be used, and then. What I envision is that the ISK tax for these corporations could actually be lowered, because now the corporation can get their funding from a thing that most people don't actually care about as much. You get to keep more ISK, and we just take the LP that you don't really need. So I think that, I don't know, that this is one of the reasons why we're having a meeting this weekend. Supercur induced nanocoding resequencer. That is very No Man's Sky color. Sorry. A new game. Oh, God. Remind me after I'm done with these that I do want to go into my No Man's Sky rant today. A new in-game customization tool, the Supercurrent Induced Nano... CEOs, directors, a newly created role of brand manager. Why do I need to have a new role to set an Astrahus when you can do it remotely, but I don't have a new role to let somebody make projects for our people? It's just backwards. All right. Once the purchase is complete, nanocoding designs are then applied to all selected structures for capsulators to enjoy or not. The brand manager role has access to all corporation customization options. For now, that is Skinner and the ability to spend Evermarks through these options. Worth noting, on today's stream, CCP straight up called out that this is supposed to be coming to ships as well sooner rather than later, which is really cool. But also, like, there was something else about that I was going to say. Oh yeah. On the same note, I'm calling BS on, I think it was Berger, maybe it was Rattati, that said that they looked at the numbers and that's why, like, and they figured out, like, oh, how are we going to make this to not devalue the Evermarks? So that's why they made it to be a temporary thing. And the fact that they couldn't do that was the reason why structure skins were delayed so much. I'm calling bullshit on that. Like, I get the economic thing is true. Don't get me wrong. I get the economic thing. This is true. This has shown up time and time again in EVE as this is a challenge with skins that can be purchasable with a renewable resource. Fine. But let's not pretend, like, for years we were told that the reason why we couldn't skin structures was because of the whole infrastructure of who gets to choose the skin. Where does the skin come from? Who owns the skin? That kind of thing. Yeah, it just seemed really weird that they threw that in there. Either way. Yeah. We've already talked about this before too. The one thing I do like about this is the idea that we can now have a holding corporation that's in the corp for 30 days, move the Evermarks to it, move it out of the corporation, move the transfer the structures to it, and now we can have a structure holding corp that has skins. That's kind of cool. Tax reforms. Okay, we are making a series of changes on how taxes are calculated to increase the value of corporation infrastructures as an income source. They will be in the following areas. Brokers' fees and upwell structures. Instead of a percentage cut, a fixed rate will be taken at the SEC, providing more ISK for facility owners. 2. Industrial job installation fees. Taxes will be applied directly to the estimated item value, allowing facility owners to have meaningful income stream, even at low index systems. And 3. NPC stations and monuments, manufacturing and research factors removal. Leveling the field and encouraging industry spreads across systems. So, there used to be NPC stations and other factors that influence how the index works. That's all being stripped away. So making stuff in JITA is about to become more expensive, but more of the value of it is going to be able to be recovered by the structure owners. Broker's fee and upwell structures. The goal of this change was to give more control. So there will no longer be a 50% cut. It'll be a fixed rate of 0.5%. And this makes sense to me, right? Like when I'm selling a t-shirt, they say, okay, we're charging $15. However you much want to charge, that's how much you get to make, right? So if I sell a t-shirt for $20, I get $5, you know, whatever. I'm making up those numbers. Those aren't the real numbers. Buy my shirts. Anywho. Actually, those might be they may or may not be the real numbers. I have no idea. It's a coincidence if they are. I digress. The point is that like this makes more sense, and it makes it so that like when you decide the thing, it makes it a straight up like, okay, well, how much of a percent do we want? We put that above the fixed rate rather than having it be like scalingly cut at 50%. If you were making an order at a cost of 100,000 ISK in a structure where the owner has to set a broker fee at 10%, the following amounts would be going to the individual thing. So, the facility owner of wallet. Oh yeah, in the old formula, 5% would go to the owner, 5% would go into a sink. Now, 10,000 would go to the owner, and 500 would go to the sink. Which is wait. Oh, okay. So in this case, in the top formula, the percentage is 10.5, or sorry, is 10, but actually in the bottom one, it's actually 10.5 because this is a full 10%, and then the 0.5 is tacked on top. They are not the real numbers. Thank you, Danny. Industrial job installation fee. Yeah, I charge way more than that. Investing in industrial infrastructure is very expensive. This is felt especially by new corporations that are starting to make their mark on New Eden. Established groups have little incentive to grant access to their very costly infrastructure due to income, such as a bargain being mostly meaningless to them. The goal of this change is to address both of these problems, to create options for newer corporations to access infrastructures without having to fork it out for it, and fully give incentives to those that decide to do so. All taxes for industry jobs will be applied directly to the estimated item value instead of the system cost index adjusted estimated item value. This change meant that the facility owners in a low index system can set their taxes to a very low value, but still get a meaningful income while still staying competitive. So it used to be that, like, since you set a percentage, the index, as the index goes up, the cost of building it goes up, the amount that you make for them building it goes up. But now, like, the index cost is kind of like tacked on top of everything else, right? So all of the values are calculated for cuts, and then the index is kind of like an additional fee levied on top. Which is actually better, by the way. Adjusted clone tax to 0.25% from 2. So clone tax has been, alpha clone tax has been increased. Also an additional 0.25% tax that goes to the SEC. The industrial facility tax and NPC stations went from 0.25 to 10%. So just more stuff to make it way more valuable to make stuff in player structures than NPC stations. The maximum tax that can be set for industry services will be capped at 10%. That's great. Okay, fair enough. You can now adjust your fees to 2 decimal places rather than being limited to 1. Cool. We'll be setting all current player ownership tax profiles to 0.25%. This will need to be adjusted by facility owners as they see fit. Yay, administrative work. This will vastly increase competitiveness for facility owners. Even with it set at 0.25%, the fee will earn the facility owners substantially more risk. Look, I can comment about what I think about this stuff, and you know, obviously, I would just basically iterate some of the stuff that's being said here. I would recommend keeping an eye on people like Oz, Angry Mustache, and others, because I'm sure they will have opinions. The formula, yeah. Okay, cool. Math. We're just gonna keep on going. Removed all system index cost modifiers. This includes removing bonuses that extra stations provided to a system, and the Upwell support facility bonuses that were present in null security systems that had an outpost prior to being converted to the faction Fortizars in 2016. Mustache has massively advocated for this. I guess that. No. Things are actually, like, costs could go down in player structures if decided by the player structures. Costs will go up in NPC stations, it seems. Temporary sales tax holiday. The previously mentioned changes will have an impact where in the short term the installation costs to manufacturers will be out of balance. To counter this impact, we are temporarily lowering the sales tax for all market transactions. This is really interesting because they've toyed with the sales tax stuff, and they've created these tax holidays before, but they've always seemed kind of random and like testy, like they're testing something. But this is actually a really interesting decision because, like, when they make these kinds of changes, especially with some of the other changes that are coming with Viridian, you're going to see a spike in trade and such as people try to move things from one, you know, like correct for things, collect things, sell off things. Things get moved around a lot as all of the priorities shift. And so I think it's actually really cool that they're reducing the market transactions task to make it, you know, easier to fire sale, easier to grab stuff real quick. They're facilitating almost like a grace period for people to get things ready and get started with Viridian. Lancer Dreadnoughts. All right, we got leaked information about this yesterday, but now we have the official information. Actually, wait, no, that was Marauders. Or was it Dread? I can't remember whether or not we had Dread stats before this. I don't think we did. So 25% to missiles, 25% to missile application, for extra large missiles, obviously. Although, notably, not... Wait, Never mind. Yep. It includes rapid torpedoes. So this includes Ha. Lancers get 50% bonus to the damage and 100% bonus to disruptive maximum range. So that's going to be a very important skill to train for those of you who want to use this thing. In addition to that, it has 6 highs, 4 lows, 4 mediums, 8 lows, 3 launchers. So it's got 3 launchers total with 6 highs. So you got 3 launchers, the Doomsday, the Bastion, and a Festival launcher, obviously. Lots and lots of room for stuff. Excuse me. 2 rig slots, which are typical, which is the standard for Tech 2. Lots of hit points. It has... The MR one still has a complete EM resist hull, which is, you know, whatever. That's cool. But yeah, this does have the lower end T2 resistance, which we knew about. Although, honestly, most of it's in here. And then good targeting range. It's slow. And somebody can tell me if any of this is actually interesting or relevant, except for the fact that it has a maximum jump range that's larger than other dreadnoughts, but not as large as Jump Freighter. I heard the T2 Dread can't cloak if they have a Lancer module. I have not heard that. Cloak is, yeah. We'll see whether or not we get there. The Karura is hybrid tracking speed and optimal range. So application and range, where the Bane was damage and application. That feels big, man. I feel like, yeah, that's kind of cool. Or that's kind of crazy. So the Caldari Dreadnought does not get a damage bonus, but only application and range. They get the normal damage. All of them, I think all of the Lancers get the same Lancer Dreadnought bonus. A 6-7-5 layout with 3 turrets, so it seems to be pretty standard. Still has that nice little 0% shield resist hull, which is pretty typical. You would expect it to have better thermal resistances than expected, so there you go. Caldari, after all. This is your first time sniffing the tinfoil? Oh, man. Get to huffing. They have Black Ops range. Okay, cool. It's coming up in the patch notes? Okay, I'm getting there. Hubris. Hubris gets a 5% haste, or 25% haste, and 25% repair, and 25% bonus to all hull resistances. I'm telling you guys, I'm flying a goddamn hull tanked Hubris. It feels like the only way that you should be allowed to, like... I'm definitely going to hull tank with, like, it's literally just going to be a bigger version of the Newt Tristan with, like, a giant armor repper, but, like, all of the tank is actually in the hull. It's going to be great. All right. The ship's name. Satonia, I've been saying since it was released, I've been asking people, you know, like, what is going to be the build cost? Because I need to know the cost of Hubris. All right. 6 highs, 4 mediums, 8 lows. 8 lows. Jiminy Christmas. Man, I feel like they really want us to like the Hubris. I feel like they really want us to like the Hubris. It's kind of a meme, but they also want us to like it. God, that resistance bonus plus a damage control is going to be insane. What? Death Hunter? Hunger? I don't know where that came from. Yeah, the 8 low is true about the Amar one too. Yeah, it does need XL Dreadnought damage. Oh yeah, we need an XL Dreadnought damage. Don't they have no? But they have the emergency thing, right? Don't they have a special damage control for capitals? Yeah, yeah. And then the Valreven, or what is it? The Valrov? Valrov, I think it was. Any rate, range bonus and rep bonus. So again, the Caldari, the shield dreadnoughts do not get a damage bonus. They do get range bonus. And the Gallente and Caldari one, sorry, the skirmishy empires, the Gallente and the Mimitar get rep bonuses, while the other two, the fleet-based ones, the Caldari and the Amar, get application? Well, whatever. Other things. You can hear my cat snoring again. That's funny. All right. Lances. Each Lancer Dreadnought will be equipped with racially specific Disruptive Lance. Disruptive Lances are a smaller version of the Titan Lances, doing about a third of the base damage of the Titan Lance. Disruptive Lances apply a suite of debuffs: not being able to tether, not being able to warp out, dock, jump, or use a Stargate. Receiving only 50% of incoming remote repairs. It will do a 10-kilometer AoE energy neutralization around the Lancer ship that activates it like Titan Lances. The Disruptive Lance... Do we know how much drain that will be? Maybe we'll find that later. Disruptive Lances will provide a similar set of debuffs for to the Lancer, such as not being able to tether, cloak, dock, or jump for 5 minutes after firing. I mean, that tracks, but they can't cloak after firing. That makes sense. So that kind of implies that they can cloak before firing. So they can fit a cloak, they just can't cloak after they fire. That makes sense. Can only be fired while in siege mode, and the ship with this module are unable to act. Wait, never mind. Hey, Ash, if you want to just, read the next line, that'd be awesome. Yeah, Satonia, thanks. Disruptive Lances can be fired while in siege mode, and ships with this module fitted are unable to activate cloaking devices. All right. They're adding 3 new skills with Lancer Dreadnoughts. 1 for manufacturing them, 1 for firing the ship itself, and 1 for flying the ship itself, and 1 for the new weapon. So there's a new 16-time skill that costs 2.5 billion ISK that is required to fly the Dreadnought. By the way, the Dreadnought will also require the Racial Dread to 5, just like any other T2. The Disruptive Lance is an additional X14 skill at half a billion ISK. So now we're talking about a 3 billion ISK just to get the skills to sit inside of it, and then another $500 million to get the 6x16 skill to build this thing. Okay. It's also worth noting that unlike previous things, they did not seed that skill early, and so we'll look later, but we will not be seeing Lancer Dreadnoughts in the first week, or probably even the first month of Viridian, and we'll see why as we go. But a times 16 skill that takes 1 billion ISK to buy, that cannot be pre-trained. Sure, there's going to be people with unallocated SP, but we'll look. The Disruptive Lance will also reduce its capacitor consumption by 5%, and will reduce the manufacturing time by 1% for a total of 5% reduction in manufacturing time. Which, correct, you only need it to 1, but this factors into what we were talking about last night. BPOs for the Lancers can be found for Did I read that right? Hold on. Yeah, 500 million ISK in the appropriate Empire school station for the respective racial lance. That's just the lances. Right, because you don't buy a T2 BPO, so you buy a BPO for the lances. So the weapon is 500 million. Right, Mike, but I split it into two different categories because the people that are going to be building it and the people that are going to be flying it might be two different people. So the people that fly it need to spend 3 billion ISK, and the people that are building it need to spend half a billion ISK. Or, you know, likely 2 billion ISK at least because of the BPO for the lances. All right. So this requires 20,000 Zydrine, 25,000 Megasite, 20,000 Noxium, 25,000 Isogen, 25,000 Noxium, 40,000 Mexilon, 1 million Pyrite, and 1.5 million Tritanium. So it's big. Did anyone hear that sound? Did that sound like a wailed old guard wallet unzipping? Some of us have been patiently pooling unallocated SP for quite some time. Yeah, 13 million. You have more than me. All right, so to make one of these dreads, you require the T1 dread. Then you'll need 1,700 of the capital reactor unit for the race, 1,500 of the capital microprocessor for the race. I'm not going to say for the race each time. 1,500 capital capacitor units, 900 capital sensor clusters, 900 capital thrusters, 400 capital armor plates, 400 capital shield emitters, 4,000 Morphite, 2,000 construction blocks, and 100 RAM Starship tech. So these parts are already available because they are part of the construction of Jump Freighters. Lancer Dreadnoughts will have the same restrictions for upwell structures docking as regular Dreadnoughts do. Lancer Dreadnoughts will only be able to be manufactured in low security, null security, and NPC stations, or with an upwell capital manufacturing service online in low security. Null security or wormhole space, the same as existing Dreadnoughts. The following rigs to reduce the materials and time required for Lancer Dreadnoughts production. L-set capital ship manufacturing efficiency, and L-set ship manufacturing XL set ship manufacturing efficiency. So the large rig. Oh, okay, good. I had to read that a few times. These are not new rigs. These are the rigs that will influence it, which is for the large structures, it'll be the capital ship material or manufacturing ones. And for XL, because XL broader categories is just ship manufacturing. That makes sense. Marauders. This is where things get spicy. Ever since the rework of Marauders back in 2021, they've been full disclosure. I'm a huge Marauder fan. I feel like I should say that before we even jump into this. They have seen a huge increase in use, and we are incredibly happy that Marauders feel rewarding to fly and are aspirational to pilots across New Eden. They are, however, becoming very dominant in all areas of space. That's true, Mike. No, it's spicy. They are high damage, high tank, high mobility, even though Bastion locks them in place, high range, high application, and E-War resistance that prevents most counterplay options. This results in them being rather good at everything and lacking impossible counterplay. Faster fleets can't avoid their damage. Smaller fleets struggle to break them. Clever FCs can't bring E-War counters. The best counter to these ships is capital escalation, which is not available to many groups, particularly smaller ones, or in all areas of the game, such as wormholes or inside of an ESS, or let's say high-sec fighting. All right, so our goal is to create new weaknesses and therefore opportunities for counterplay and PvP for Marauders where they currently do not have any. These changes would lean into the class's identity as being strong but immobile and offer smaller ships a chance to play around the Marauder with E-War tools that are currently often useless in the face of E-War resistance bonuses. The duration is increased from 30 seconds to 60 seconds, and remove the electronic warfare resistance bonus, the sensor dampener, tracking disruptor, and target painter resistances. Look, guys, it's fine. Let me actually explain to you what's really happening. You come to me for context, and this change may seem kind of weird out of place. It went from 60 seconds to 90 seconds to 30 seconds, and now it's 60 seconds again. It's real simple, guys. They are pegging the duration of the Marauder Bastion to the price of Bitcoin. So it fluctuates, but like that's balanced, okay? Like no crypto in New Eden, it's fine. We're not actually having... I'm joking. I look, the 60-second one I don't really mind. The removal of electronic warfare resistance bonuses, I actually kind of do mind because of rats. Like, can we at least get the sensor dampener one? Because God, I hate Serpentis. No, like I don't know. It's just the thing is that having so much being big and powerful and then just being dismantled by a single E-War just doesn't quite feel good to me. And sensor dampeners are the worst, most flagrant version of that, in my opinion. But yeah, okay, I get it. You can primer the E-War NPCs anyways. Not if they have you damped and they're out of your range. Like, we've literally had to bring in 2 people so that way they can only have one of them damped. The Kronos is currently the weakest performing of the Marauders. We are giving it an additional mid slot in exchange for the high slot to give it more utility for close range brawling. We are also making a small tweak to its survivability by shifting some of the structure HP to armor HP. I do think it's really funny. Jeff, which Marauder should I use as a drone boat? Any rate, we're removing that affect incoming remote buffs. So we're getting to there, Santiago. It was said on Reddit, I think it was, and I thought it was really funny that it's like, it just goes to show you how much CCP, like how messed up the Gallente balance is, that in order to nerf an entire ship class, they had to, as part of that, buff the Gallente one, like straight up. But I was 2 days earlier. I'm done. 2 days earlier, I was sitting in, I was like trying to fit out a Kronos, and I was thinking to myself, boy, if only I had one more mid slot. So I'm extremely happy about that. The Kronos is probably going to be my new toy. The Vargur is performing the best out of all of the Marauders right now for solo and small gang use. We are making adjustments to decrease the power of the triple XL ancillary shield booster fits by lowering the shield boost bonus slightly. CCP thinks that 33% is slightly. And moving the shield HP to armor HP. At the same time, we are improving the flexibility of the Vargur by adding armor repair bonus and an extra low slot in exchange for a high slot to match the paradigm set by the Kronos. I think that... So I've heard a lot of people complaining that this is like the straight up nerf to the Vargur. But I actually think that this is mostly a correction for the Vargur. Because, like, Mimitar often have both shield and armor capabilities. So the fact that it was double down on shields kind of didn't make that much sense. And so taking down the shields a little bit in order to make it so that armor is viable, I think tracks a little bit. Also, while they are getting less shield boosts, they are getting an extra low slot, which could just mean more damage to them. So, you know, that's pretty nasty. I think that this is... what's critical here is that this... As much as I can complain about little details about this change, it is very obvious that CCP paid very, very, very close attention to not just the complaint that Marauders were overpowered, but more importantly, the exact places and ways that Marauders were starting to come across as being oppressive, especially in PvP. You know, the triple Ancel Vargur, the sniper paladins, like these were, like when people say Marauders are oppressive, they actually are specifically talking about these kind of ideas. And so they shot for those and tried not to do very much damage to the rest of the Marauders. This has been a delicate thing. They buffed Marauders extremely high when they made the decision to make them good. And they've been paring them back, but they've been trying really, really, really hard to pare them back in ways that don't lose the good feeling that they added by buffing them, but rather just like polishing the parts that are specifically not working, right? So I kind of want to respect that. And it's not just because the Kronos got buffed. Paladin now has a shortened optimal range, which I'm sad about, but it's fine. I will have a micro jump driving Kronos soon. And all of the Marauders have had their mass doubled. which a lot of wormhole dwellers have been extremely happy about vocally, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people that are very mad about it quietly. But I think this is a good change, man. Like, again, like, so the fact that even though I have a micro warp drive on my paladin, even when my paladin is plated, I still don't do the micro warp drive trick on the paladin because it already aligns and warps in like 10 seconds. So I don't actually get anything from it. So it's always been kind of weird how nimble Marauders are. So I think it makes sense that they are slow and clunky. That's fine to me. But the agility have been improved to keep align times similar to similar value. Okay, in that case, I have no idea what's going on. Oh, okay, so this is simply for wormhole restriction. That's fine, whatever. No, yeah. That's interesting. Okay, well, I stand by the fact that it's weird that Marauders are so agile. Okay, we are adding some power to the Maelstrom and the RoAch. They're both underperforming compared to the Hyperion and the Abaddon. Oh, man, hold on. I'm going to get demonetized for this. All right, worth it. The RoAch community currently shares an... Please like the stream. Consider supporting, because, you know, I sacrifice my income for you. No, I'm just kidding. The RoAch currently shares an 865 slot layout with the Maelstrom, which outperforms it as a shield brawler. By increasing it to 7 mid slots, the goal is to give it more flexibility when blaster brawling over the Maelstrom. At the same time, we're also giving it a bit more fitting space and a much bigger drone bay with a smaller increase to drone bandwidth, which will add to its utility, especially when up close. I don't understand. Like, how can you call it a buff to the RoAch when it isn't just increasing smart bombing damage? I'm confused. Longer range fits will benefit from the extra utility or tank that the 7th mid slot provides, especially when combined with the large railgun buffs. Am I getting to those? So they now have 75 bandwidth and 125 bay. Smart bomb fits will benefit from the extra tank. Okay, cool. That's a good point. More CPU. Maelstroms. We're generally happy with Maelstrom identity as to shield boosting, brawling, projectile platform. It just needs a bit more power. We are improving the Maelstrom speed, shield boost bonus, and scan resolution. Both the velocity and scan resolution were a little on the slower side for the Mimitar ship, especially when compared to the Hyperion. So its shield boost was increased by... Hey! Look, if anybody's mad at the Vargar nerfs, be mad at the Maelstrom. The Maelstrom stole your 2.5%, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at CCP. Be mad at the Maelstrom. It is now... math is hard. 21 M per second faster. So, a third. I don't know if that's even right. Scan resolution goes up too. I need T2 Maelstroms even more now. I know, right? Okay, large railguns are severely underperforming compared to other battleship-sized weapons. We're improving them relative to other weapon classes to make them more viable. Option to help improve the viability of several underperforming ships, such as the RoAch and the Kronos. So it's only railguns, though, not blasters. 15% bonus to tracking speed, which has always been their weakness, and a 15% bonus to rate of fire, which is pretty cool. Tracking increase will place large railguns between large beams and large artillery for tracking scores. Whoa, that's actually pretty big. The rate of fire will improve their DPS, making them more attractive while not increasing their Apple Strike capability for large fleet fights. And no, I'm not redoing my entire fitting guide for that one detail. The 0-point mass entangler. There was a particularly strong reason for disallowing this module in high security and low security, as it was a legacy it inherited from the older HIC modules, but now it can be used in high security and low security space. Let's talk about the 0-point mass entangler. So, this is not the rig. This is the high slot thing that goes on HICs. Okay? I think it can, yeah, it can only be fit to Hicks. The reason why this exists is because CCP tweaked the way that wormhole masses and I think they changed it. It used to be that the interdiction sphere that was fired off by heavy interdiction caused a big, or not the sphere, yeah, caused a big bloom to your signature radius, or yeah, to your mass signature radius, one of the two. So when they changed that, the player base, the wormholers were like, wait, no, we use this to roll wormholes. And so to respond to that, they created the 0-point mass entangler, which is literally just like, all right, here's a thing that allows you to roll wormholes with Hicks. Like that's exact, like that was what it was for. That's what it does. But now you can get it, you can use it in high sec. I don't know why you would do such a thing, but you can. Okay, home front operations. Each home front operation requires a group of pilots covering a specific roles from hacking to hauling. Be warned, unlike most other sites, home front operations can be lost if your team fails to meet their set objective. All right. Rolling high set connections? I guess? Okay, fine. Okay, fine. That tracks. Rolling high sec holes, fine. Not, but frigate holes, I smell that. Can a cruiser get into a frigate hole? Okay. So we have 6 different kinds of sites, and they all like key on a different thing. However, while it doesn't look like these sites are going to be like mixed in the same sort of sense as like you're going to bring your mining people with the mining objectives and your logi people with logi objectives, like each one has a specific role that it's the main focus of, but they are mixed sites in the fact that there is like seems to be combat in most of them, for example. So yeah, but they're all different scales of. These are basically 6 different activities, not 6 like degrees of one activity or whatever, right? These aren't necessarily you don't like. I feel like we'll probably make a fleet to roll one of them and maybe shift over when we run out of sites or something like that, rather than go from different sites. Yes, the home fronts are almost certainly what the events team have been busy with for the last few months. Okay, so first, Abyssal Artifact Recovery. That's the one we saw yesterday. Valuable artifacts buried within asteroids have emerged from abyssal rifts. However, they aren't all that has made its way into the cluster. Break apart the asteroids and grab whatever you can before the dwellers of the abyss overwhelm you. So this was the one. It's got 16 rocks, 12 waves of rats. The rocks do have more than one unit of aura, as it turns out. And that aura is basically a commodity that you just sell to NPC buy orders. However, what's in the artifacts is part of a thing that... This is the big hole that really has my attention. We have patch notes. We have dev blogs. We have video footage of people running it. We have no idea what the rewards of these sites are going to be. We have no idea, like, how these things are actually going to play out. That's wild. And more importantly, CCP has had every opportunity to talk about it, but they haven't. It's not Pochvanor. It's called Muta. It's a new thing. It's literally a commodity. So either way, let's keep going. Suspicious signal. This is the exploration one. It's not mission or, like I said, it is literally a commodity. We saw it yesterday. That's the one thing I do know. Suspicious signal. This is the exploration one. Yes, it is blue loot, effectively. Your target is protected by an array of specialized emitters. While they're active, it is invulnerable. Hack the array to temporarily disable their defenses and give yourself a chance to take out the target. So, again, so this is the industrial one. So this is about mining, and yet there's rats attacking you. This one's the exploration one, which is about hacking, and yet, look, there's something to kill and all that stuff. So I don't know whether or not we're going to want combat hackers. We also have no idea. We know that there will be ship restrictions, but we don't know what ship restrictions. We know that it will be tuned for 5 people, but we don't know. There's a lot we don't know about these things in a world in which we literally already have patch notes. And I don't think that that's an accident. In fact, I can all but guarantee at this point that it's not an accident. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's awful and they don't want us to know about it until the last second. But maybe it's also extraordinarily interesting. Who knows? Suspicious signal reminds me of one of the incursion sites. It does a little bit. The Dread Assault. An allied dreadnought was dispatched to eliminate a target. Unfortunately, hostile forces are neutralizing its capacitor and preventing it from firing. Boost its charge, keep the enemy at bay, and the Dread will take care of the rest. So that's the defend a ship as it's trying to attack a station one, right? Like, so you're going to have to kill the rats. You're going to have to potentially save or even hoard capacitor. So like a couple of guardians with cap transfers would be extremely useful. You know, that kind of thing. Raid. An enemy base has been found containing items of your empire would like recovered. Tackle and destroy any hostile haulers that attempt to escape. Bring a hauler to one of your own to aid in retrieving the items from the smoldering wrecks. Bring a hauler of your own. So the stuff in this site are going to be probably too big for the combat ships to haul away. That's interesting. Also, notice we actually aren't. Our goal isn't necessarily to kill them. Even it's to tackle and destroy them. So they're trying to get away, right? So we show up, they're looting an area, a base, and they're attempting to get out. This is very like Shadow of the Serpent, right? Like, so we're going there and interdicting an attempt to flee a facility. So we're raiding the facility, and our job is to stop the haulers from getting away, blow them up, and then grab their loot in there, which is going to be big enough to go in a hauler, and carry it away. How does the combat... I think that they just wanted to create different things for all the different roles, right? Orcas and Arazus? Well, we don't know if Orcas can get in. Also, if you remember, like, there's been a lot of raids going on in the lore. This definitely tracks as being one of the things that the empires are going to start doing now that they've centralized their efforts. Same as attacking one of their enemies, maybe. You know, so whatever. Hostiles are attempting to destroy an allied target. Repair any damage and keep the enemies at bay long enough for to secure the site. The hostile forces cannot be allowed to complete their objective. So in this case, we have an allied target that is coming under attack, and we actually need Logi and stuff to save those people and kill the hostile forces. So the interesting thing about this one is, while the original description in the last F blog said the structure, I can't remember the exact word, but in the stream we saw that this was actually called Emergency Aid Convoy, right? So if these are, so my guess is that this emergency aid, this is the Itinerant Forge project, you know, all those sorts of things. Like, basically the Itinerant Forge project comes under attack, we have to go and save them, right? That's where the New Eden news and where this stuff really seems to merge for me. A lot of these things seem to like they could be downscaled for the career agents. Well, these are pretty downscaled. Like, this is the next logical step up, actually. So I'd actually like to see the next step after this, right? Keep working our way up. This is a great next challenge after the career agents. Metaliminal meteoroid, an asteroid comprised of ore valuable to the war effort, has slipped into Empire space. Your goal is to mine it out before it plunges back into abyssal dead space. Be careful, hostile forces are in the area and attempt to disrupt you and delay your efforts. This one feels like the timer actually starts before we even make it into it, right? The other one, the top one, this mining one, the timing starts when you get into it. This one feels like, oh god, it's there. Quick, we got to get there and mine it up before it goes away. Improved objective system. We have vastly improved an objective system for agent missions and sites. The new objectives have modernized visuals, certain dynamic information, and include helpful interaction states. These new objectives are featured in the Homefront operations, and we have also implemented them for all career agent missions, making them clearer and more accessible. This actually, okay. After yesterday, I have gotten some information from undisclosed locations about this sort of stuff. And one of the things that I got was the fact that on stream, like, there's a lot more, like, you can click on it and get more information and find out stuff and, like, whatever on the UIs for both the objectives and the finding the operations and all that stuff that they didn't actually go into on the stream. So there's, for those of us who thought it was a little bit bare, it sounds like there's actually, like, layers to making it feel good that that we just haven't seen yet, but are there. Ecosystems and industry changes. We are making a lot of quality of life changes to various aspects of the economy, as well as reducing some of the bottlenecks that currently exist, especially for capital production. Oh. The changes to the capital core temperature regulators and Neuralink enhancers will lower the cost of all capital ships. We are changing the PI consumed by life support backup units and auto integrity preservation seals from P1 to P2 planetary interaction commodities. This will make the hauling of build materials for them much easier. Allow me to explain. The materials that are required right now for these pieces are P1. P1 are almost never designed to actually be used. You're supposed to bring them to the next step, the P2, and then move them around and do them for further things. So P2 is relatively okay to move around. P1 is bulky as hell. So that's why this matters, right? Okay, so integrity. So capital core temperature regulator. This is the thing that makes every capital expensive, guys. The integrity response drones goes down by a quarter. Self-harmonizing power cores by a quarter. Core temperature regulators by 2/3, from 70 to 50. So this is going to automatically reduce the price of all capitals from here on out, without even anything else. Now then, meta operant Neuralink enhancer blueprints. These are the capital doodads that require gas and other, like, weird things that people don't like. Those are all being cut by half. The life support backup units have had the water and oxygen replaced by test cultures and viral agents. They're smaller numbers, partially because it's a higher tier PI. Also, from auto integrity, we've removed bacteria and proteins and added nanites and super tensile plastics. Jump freighters already required certain input materials when building Tech 1 freighters. We are removing them to both lower the cost of jump freighters and lower the demand for these items so that there's more available for other capital ships. So the racial trigger Neuralink is no longer there. The racial FTL interlink communicator no longer there. Basically, all of the new industry changes stuff that was put into the ARC or to the jump freighters have all been removed. The jump freighters have also basically had everything that made jump freighters more expensive with the industry changes have basically now been unwound. So jump freighters might be kind of reasonable. Jump freighters Rex will now have an access difficulty of -10 to match all over T2 ships. And capital components are being reduced in volume from 10K to 2K, which is big. This is just another, like, CCP is really focused on enabling trade, requiring but enabling trade, and making capital parts easier to move around makes it easier for us to have multiple facilities, trade things between people, have multiplayer projects, etc., etc. Okay. We are increasing the availability of content that drops capital ship control items. Increases spawn chance by 100% for the following sites: Aegis Capital Ship Security Facility, Aegis Secure Transfer Facility, Aegis Capital Construction Forge. Those are the ones in Losec. And then the Overmind Nursery Grove, which is the one in Pochvin. Yeah, because that's all I needed was more data sites that I scanned down ending up being an Aegis site instead of a operations center. We are making it much easier to haul PI commodities as well. It now requires fewer active inputs to manage since the space of all the storage facilities and spaceports are effectively doubled. So the volume of all PI commodities is reduced by 50%. So not only have they like changed it so it uses the easier to move around PI, also all PI is being reduced by 50%. They want PI to be more convenient. They want people to be able to do PI. Yay, no more low-sec data sites I won't do. We are adjusting the asteroid belts that we added earlier this year. These are the asteroid belts that can be found. So these are border asteroid belts and the blue asteroid belts. Yttrium, which are the ones that give pure isogen, have been increased by 900%. This is actually an interesting clue. CCP has put in a lot of new levers, right? One of those new levers is these AO or these border systems thing, right? Because when they moved the ore around, so that way, for instance, isogen is only in low-sec and Pochvin, you know, that skyrocketed the price of isogen. But like, how do we make it so that isogen, how can we control the price of isogen a little bit, like tamper down a little bit that runaway craziness, while, or at least tamper it as much as we want to, without continually just only getting people to go out there and mine Nice in low-sec or whatever, because like that only works for so far. So like, what if we make these sites that are random and inconsistent, but provide some of this stuff, and they provide them in different quantities? So if we want to make sure that there's extra megasite out there, we can just promote the one that's extra megasite. But in this case, we need more isogen in the system. So we're going to make it so that these border systems create an insane amount of isogen, and that helps stabilize a little bit, and they can always change it again later. They can move that lever again if things shift around and isogen needs to be worth more to promote people to go mine in low-sec. This is a perfect example of the lever-based design that they've been working on. All right. Yeah. So, okay. Here's my hot take about Lancers and jump freighters, okay? Welcome to the counterplay. Could it be, possibly, that jump freighters were a little bit too safe and have been complained about because of that for at least 13 years, and giving them one incredibly obscure weakness that requires a lot of coordination, 10 plus billion ISK, and good timing and luck to counter you, should not end your gameplay. That's my hot take on that. All right. Okay. Ash. You keep going on about how the things are going to be pricier. Wouldn't a safe scout prevent gem freighters to be lanced anyway? So there is this nightmare scenario that you can jump the jump freighter in and begin the warp, and then immediately the thing decloaks, Sinos, jumps in the Lancer, and the Lancer lances. The problem with that is that, like, don't do it when there's an unaccounted person in local. Like, honestly, like, I feel for jump freighter pilots because it is, quite frankly, a very critical threat that they didn't have before. I didn't say Lancer cloak. I said the Sino decloaks, lights the Sino, and then the Lancer jumps in. It's not good timing and luck. You just lance the gate. It's tested already. It is good timing and luck, because if the freighter warps to the gate when the Lancer's already there, that freighter's an idiot. So you need to have good timing and good luck to actually get the Lancer in position and firing before, or correctly, while the jump freighter's in warp, even in that nightmare scenario. So, look, stop using Tama, okay? People will cope. It's fine. Can't jump freighters use filaments? No capital can use filaments. Okay. Ash, you keep harping about how cheap everything is. You said earlier that these capital core temperature regulators are the most expensive piece of this stuff. But wait, you might say. The core temperature regulators and all that stuff is actually relatively easy to acquire. The thing that's really out of control is the racial doodads that are required from racial hacking sites. Those things are stupid expensive. Those things have single-handedly made hacking in high sec and low sec very profitable, as like a single can in a data site can suddenly be worth like 12 million ISK, which is insane for a single can in high sec. Okay? So how can I say that everything's going to be so much cheaper when those doodads are still the bottleneck? Oh, look! We are making molecular condensers more affordable and available by adding them to faction warfare LP stores to act as a price ceiling for them. So now you can get it for 1 million ISK and 600 LP for, you know, each of the empires. So what's weird about this is that Empire faction ships had these doodads removed from them, so they don't need them anymore. So what you really need is these four is pirate ships and capital dreadnoughts, faction dreadnoughts. But the pirate ships requires 2 of these. So no one empire faction warfare group is going to provide all of the doodads for a pirate group. You're going to have to actually trade with other or acquire other doodads from the other empires in order to build pirate faction stuff, which is kind of interesting to me. They aren't that rare, Wizard. Oh yeah, this absolutely direct or nerfs, potentially nerfs data sites in high sec and low sec. This is also a really good way to spend faction warfare LP, especially since we're now going to have the taxes and people dumping and LP buyback and blah blah blah, and bigger, you know, more things are going to be consolidated. Like our big faction projects might be consolidated, so the fact that we can just buy this with that LP, it makes it so that we can make faction dreads basically 100% internally. It is a pretty good buff to faction warfare corps for sure. And honestly, that's okay, because a lot of the low sec explorers were doing that as an alternative income to their faction warfare. Yeah, I agree with you, Satonia. All right, volumetric clouds have been introduced in the Homefront operation sites. By the way, just to go back to my tinfoil a little bit, as I said earlier, they have explicitly not told us about the rewards, and I've drawn great allusions to the fact that that seems really strangely like noteworthy. It's conspicuously absent, and the fact that Satonia hasn't chimed up about it yet is just more confirmation. Hi, Satonia. Love you. Thanks for being here. All right. Yeah, we already know about this. Missiles are going to be cooler. Visual effects are going to be on all of the base frigates. And Marauders get cool new lights to go along with their broken Bastion module. Upwell Citadels are getting FX and lighting passes, and planets have been added as Shadowcasters. which means you can go to any planet and teleport to a beacon in space somewhere else in anywhere in New Eden. No. This means that planets now contribute to casting shadows in the game, further enhancing the visual fidelity of the environment. I thought that was already true, because I thought, like, I could be... I remember, like, when I want to see my Triglavian Twilight skin in the dark, I have to go, like, to the dark side of a planet to do so. So I don't know what this does, per se. That's it. That's all we get. I hope we can get some clouds that will obscure cans in them, so we have to actually explore them to find stuff. Possibly. I mean, the sleeper sites already have cans that are obscured. I can see my frame rates dropping from 48 to even lower. Look, I personally feel, and I haven't really tested it myself, I have a suspicion that these volumetric clouds are not going to be as performant punishing as people think. But we'll see. Mostly because I think that they are more of a property of utilizing better technology than utilizing more graphical power. Just raw graphical power. All right. So, I guess all that's left to do now, I think, is look at Hobo Leaks. Because CCP has kindly, 30 minutes before my show, dropped 1,618 strings. So, no, I haven't checked this out yet. Let's get into it, shall we? I'm sure that, I mean, like, you'll be able to turn it off or turn it down if you need to, probably. People keep on saying, like, they're comparing it to the in-structure stuff because there is volumetric clouds inside of the structures. But I think that there's a lot more going on inside of the Upwell structures now than just the volumetric clouds that are causing that graphical push. I think it's all the geometry, guys. All right. All right, this next assignment is going to... Oh, yeah. Okay, so these are all just string changes. These are clarifications. We're seeing... These are just, like, MPE string fixes. Oh, gosh. My computer hates having this website open when it has this many strings. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I've officially locked up my Chrome. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. So we have a change to the description of the Bastion module to remove its EWAR stuff and all that stuff. Why is a website lagging you there? Because this is a lot of text, and it's loading it all into memory at the same time. Oh, what was I going to say about that? This reminded me of something. Oh, it is true, actually. They didn't point this out in the thing, but, or at least I didn't see it. But, oh my god. It only happens when there's this many strings. Oh, man. Even my encoder's getting super mad at me. Man, oh, man. Is that terrible for you guys? Did that, like, really mess things up for you guys? All right, I'm going to stop poking at things then. There was the Marauders now also get a 5%... They used to have all incoming assistance reduced by 100%, but now I think Cap and other assistants besides remote reps have now been reduced by 95%. So technically speaking, you could bring a Cap battery and just shove Cap into your Marauder. It'll be extraordinarily inefficient, but at least you'll have that, and that's really cool. All these are the... Okay, here we go. It's towards newer strings, probably. These are Probably just instructions, maybe for the MPE. Corrections to the boosters, the drugs and stuff. This is stuff that just was done in Tranquility and wasn't done on Sissy, I think. All right, draw out the spy by mining, board a ship, hostiles remaining. All of this is just normal corrections. Nothing too fancy here. Nothing's jumping out. Here we go. Here we go. This looks good. Defend the base, Caldari. Reparation convoy ambushed. Repatriation convoy ambushed by Garissa's pirates. The only ship remaining is a Charon repatriator carrying state assets. Keep the Charon alive until its warp drive comes back online and you can get out of there. So, okay. And then, hold on. No, we're not going to deal with the monthly. I think I don't like report. Go back to this one. This is emergency aid. Almost certainly. Nicely done, Captain. The Charon is ready to roll out and the ambushers are retreating. Your loyalty to the state has been rightfully compensated with some extra credits. Until next time, Captain. The Charon has been destroyed and the pirates are escaping with its cargo. No matter the outcome, you showed up when it counted. Hope you will next time too soon. I hope you will next time too, so we can show these scum what a mistake it was to mess with the state. There's a typo there, but also it's worth noting that CCP has suggested that the success and failure of these different home front operations could potentially influence other things, including faction warfare advantage, right? If these convoys are allowed to get blown up, it could potentially reduce the advantage of Caldari's held systems, for example. Okay. Captain, welcome. We managed to hold off the ambush and get one ship out. At least, if you're on the prowl for more opportunities, the state can always use a good pilot. We hope to see you soon. Just too late, Captain. This wreck of a convoy and stole the state's property. They were hiding. Damn pirate scum. If you're on the prowl for more opportunities, though, the state can always use a good pilot. Hope to see you soon. Suspicious signal, secure the intel. Timer complete, grant rewards, and start cleanup. First player arrives and the timer starts, so there's information about that. Target lost, stop timer, and start cleanup. I'm guessing that the Legatus Fane is suggesting that the T2 dreads are the ones being used in these sites. Mark is completed. I wonder if this is, yeah, this is Project's UI. You can't put, there's a max number of characters, a minimum number of characters. Set progress. So this is, so set progress, I'm assuming means that you can put up like an arbitrary progress amount and put, and change that. So like we could set up like, oh, well, our objective is to take this system or whatever. And we can like make our goal and see like, oh, we're 50% there or whatever, even though there isn't a way to track it cleanly. That's cool. You won, you lost, timeout, raid, hall of sacrifice, you lost, you won, blah, blah, green, red, blue, traumatic, lavender, royal, turquoise, cyan, malachite. You know, actually, this brings me up another big question that I have. I have a very fundamental question that I feel like we've been asking this for a while about this expansion. It has never been answered. It still is not answered. So I want to ask it one more time. Why is this expansion called Viridian? The answer to that question has not really been all that clear yet. Something doesn't... I'm waiting for a video. No escape hauler spawner? I'm assuming that... Oh, yeah, that's a home front. place worship for the infamous Blood Raiders, one of the most ruthless and violent Sanisabic cults. Offertory Sigil. I'm assuming that that's the enemy hauler. Yeah, so this is the raid. We're raiding the Blood Raider temple. And they have Blood Raider sigils that are coming out, and we have to scram them and kill them. Captain, this factory's master controller has malfunctioned, and the drones have gone rogue. We need this to be dealt with quickly and quietly. Protect the master controller until it comes back online and get the infestation under control. So that is... Stop. There we go. Well, it's not the Dread Assault. It's not the raid. It's not the emergency aid. I think that that's actually the suspicious signal. Rogue drones are back under control. Nice work, Captain. You've stopped this infestation from spreading any further. Here's the payment for your troubles and your discretion. The master controller is down. Time to pull out, Captain. This site is lost. Whatever the result I saw you giving it, you're all out there. So you can count on your skills at your discretion. Nothing to see here, Captain. Just a perfectly functional automated factory. If something were to go wrong, though, we would appreciate having a pilot like you that understands the importance of a discretion on our side. Until then. I think it's worth noting that I'm going to just say that the fact that it is rogue drone focused, I'm sure, is very Gallente, right? Like this is the Gallente are experimenting with crazy AI thing, right? That's why they want discretion. That's why this is the Gallente. That's why they got taken over by rogue drones. That's why the rogue drones are attacking the master controller. That's why when the master controller is dead, the site has failed. Like, okay. Captain. Defend the base. Failure event Gallente. Oh. Captain, the factory has been deemed unsafe due to hazardous materials and no other reason. And oh man, the Gallente are so funny. The factory has been deemed unsafe due to hazardous materials and no other reason. You should fly away from here and never look back. So this is like if you show up to the site after it's already lost. The holy mission calls for aid, Captain. They have come under attack from the disciple heretics. We need you to keep this holy mission alive until the defense comes back online. So this is the same equivalent, but for the Amar. Well done, Captain. You've protected the Empress's missionaries from these betrayers. The faithful should be rewarded. The holy mission has fallen. Curse these disciple heretics. The action will be but a footnote in the history of the Empire. Our faith will endure, and the next time they attack, we shall be waiting. Come to pay your respects, Captain. There was an attack on the holy mission, but we managed to stop it. All are welcome to pay their respects. When the next opportunity arises, I'll be honored. So that's if you show up and it's already succeeded. And I'm afraid that you're too late. The holy mission is lost, and the so-called disciples who destroyed it have fled. It is good to see that you came and paid your respects. When the next opportunity arises, I'll be honored to have your faith by my side. Captain, this clan refused to pay protection to the Angel Cartel thugs and are now under attack. So, again, this is now the exact same site, but now the Mimitar version. The clan's commons is the clan commons is the heart of the community. Keep it from being destroyed before the defenses come back online. The commons is safe and secure. Those cartel thugs have been spent packing. Excellent work, Captain. We can't take care of... Another typo. If we can't take care of our own, who will? Also, comma, capital I. We earned creds coming... Well-earned creds coming to you. Until next time. Clan Commons is lost. Damn! The Republic won't forget what they did here. Or how hard you fought. Yeah, well, not just different tests, but, like, different scenarios, really. I mean, even though they're effectively reskins of the same-ish thing, like, they really decided to make the flavors of the different empires shine in there. It's just, I love it. I'm afraid you missed the fireworks. The cartel bullies harassed this clan, have run off, and the holding is safe. I'm afraid this holding is already lost. Cartel scums came through and wiped it out. Captain, the self-righteous Gallente have set up a quantum override broadcaster and it's about to transmit their lies. The feds have also deployed remote jamming arrays, making targeting the lower tower impossible. That's the signal one. That's the signal one. Hold on. So... I think... Hold on. Wait. Okay. The Caldari one is also the same site. These are all of these that we're talking about right now are all the emergency aid. Because they're attempting to destroy an allied target. So the Caldari one is a caravan with a freighter. The Gallente one is a rogue drone infested facility. The Mimitar are an angel raid, and the Caldari are... Well, we already went over the Caldari. The Gallente are... Wait, already went over the Gallente. The Amar are the Blood Raiders. Didn't the Abyssal site they show in the stream have rogue drone stuff in it? Yes, but those were almost certainly Triglavian rogue drones, not normal rogue drones. Okay, so now what we're getting into is the exploration site. So defend the base is that one. Disable the defenses at the hacking site. So, where are we? Okay. Captain, yeah, we already did the Gallente one. Broadcaster down and hostiles retreating. Nice work. Those Gallente will think twice before they try and mess with the state. We transferred your reward. Damn, they've done it. The Federation lies broadcasting across the system. The system. The enemy has fled. They know we're too late. The state appreciates those who do their duty, even in the face of defeat. See you next time. See you next operation, Captain. And just too late, Captain. The enemy broadcast is already complete. And Captain, this operation has already been completed successfully. So... again, this is another one of those examples of something that could directly relate to Warzone control and advantage, if they wanted to. There's a space opera book series called Dread Empire's Fall that has a first book called The Praxis that has a Viridian as the color of the fleet uniforms. Okay, Zogot, I like myself some tinfoil, but that might be a road too far for me. Welcome, Captain. The Caldari are moving illegal funds out of our jurisdiction using the Mega Finance Siphoner. To make things interesting, they've deployed remote shield arrays to protect it. Hack those arrays when they're disabled. Destroy the Siphoner before it completes the transfer. Take that. Siphoner destroyed. Also, damn it, we're too late. Those illegal funds are lost. Caldari forces are backing off. There's nothing more to do here. Just wrapping up here. The situation has been dealt with. Just too late, Captain. We've lost our chance. Mega Finance Super Siphoner. Yeah, exactly. Caldari mining the bitcoins. Yeah. Yeah, crypto everywhere. Treachery. Mimitar infiltrators have deployed a long shot relay that is stealing this site's Imperial secrets. Worse, they've reprogrammed our own remote armor arrays to protect it. Hack the arrays to make the relay vulnerable, then destroy it before the data transfers. That sent them packing. Upload interrupted, and their forces are retreating. Upload is complete. Prophets forgive us. The remaining hostiles have scurried away. Just too late, Captain. These Vipers are already spread their poison. The Empire appreciates your discretion. Nothing to see here, Captain. There was a spot of trouble with some traders, but it has been dealt with. Captain. Imperial lackeys are sabotaging this recycler by using Sacred Exploiter to upload a virus and force a catastrophic malfunction. The exploiter is hidden by cloaking arrays. Hack those arrays to reveal the exploiter, then destroy it before the recycler becomes broken beyond repair. Matari Ingenuity wins the day again. The exploiter is destroyed, and those Imperial cowards have run. Damn it! The recycler is done for. Those Imperial scumbags are scuttling away. We're done here. So, like, again, these facilities that we're saving / raiding are likely result of things like the Itinerant Forge project and these other things that they've been doing. Captain, we've already wrapped up here and everything's back to operational. And too late, I'm afraid, Captain. It's all just scrap now. Captain! Okay, here we go. This is the Metaliminal Mining Rush. Captain, mine what you can before these asteroids return to the Abyss. The state will buy back anything you harvest. Fully deplete the site, and those involved will be generously compensated for their services. Risks have been spotted in the area, so watch out for hostiles. Not bad, Captain. All ore in the site has been mined. Sell whatever you harvested to the state at whatever buy order has been issued. So this is, again, like commodities. Additional compensation has also been transferred as a sign of our appreciation to your service to the state. Asteroids have phased back into the Abyss. Damn. An honorable effort, Captain. The state will still purchase whatever you have to buy on whatever a buy order has been issued. You did well. You did your duty well. That is all Caldari can ask. See you next time. Captain, this operation has already been aborted. The asteroids phase back into the Abyss. Captain, I'm afraid you're out of luck. The site has already been depleted. Good to see you, Captain. We need to mine out these rocks before they return to the Abyss. Any ore from the site can be sold to the Federation. These actually don't... I mean, like, these are pretty much the same. Blessings to you, Captain. These asteroids will soon return to the Abyss. Also, Captain, right on time. We need these asteroids mined out before they return to the Abyss. The Republic will buy them back. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, charge the gun. This is the Dreadnought one. I wonder if the Empire faction enemies in those sites drop insignias. Ashes of Turner. Wait, what is the Ashes of Turner again? I can't remember. If they do affect the Faction Warfare Warzone, it would be cool. There's an option to foil the sites while turning you suspect. I mean, you might be able to. Oh, in the Mimitar mining sites? Hold on. Oh, clanners from the Ashes of Turner are inbound. So watch out for hostiles. I feel like that name has been used. Hold on. Nope, no ashes there. No ashes there. Like, I don't know whether or not the Ashes of Turner have been mentioned before or not. All right. That actually brings us a good point. The Disciples of Purity are inbound. Wait. Okay, guys. Okay. There's a skin called the Purity of the Throne. When Catis Tashmerkon was crowned Empress, there is a group of people who felt that the Empress was not fit to rule because she had mixed Eudorian blood. This group was known as the Purity of the Throne. We were given an event to go kill them and collect the Purity of the Throne skins from them before the coronation. That is why... That's how the Purity of the Throne skins got put in. That's why, they've slowly increased in price over time. They used to be like a few 100,000. Now they're potentially up to like 50 to 100 million, depending on the skin. But this is also why they put the Purity of the Throne skins in the login rewards, because the Purity of the Throne event was never going to happen again, because it's never going to be the first time an Empress with Eudorian blood is being coronated. However, in the New Eden news over the last couple of months, we did notice a couple of times that the Purity of the Throne was called out specifically, which is interesting, because I thought that they were basically gone. But if we go back up to what we were seeing here, we see that the group that is attacking this is known as the Disciples. And I didn't quite, at the time, I just let that kind of slide past because I figured that it was just some group that I didn't quite know of because the Amar have all kinds of little groups. But this is the Disciples of Purity. So this feels like the Purity of the Throne are back in some way, shape, or form. I don't know. I'm not saying that this is where the skins are coming back, but I'm saying like that group, that idea, that rebellion against the Empress is still around and seems to be a critical figure in the Amar area. Which means that if you take that to be the same, so we have the heretical Disciples of Purity are inbound. So we're going to just guess that that means that the Disciples of Purity are hostile to the Empire, right? Like a new pirate faction of sorts. So then if we take that information and we go back over here, we can see that, where's the Mimitar one? Ashes of Turner are inbound. So it seems like Ashes of Turner would be a group that's hostile to the Mimitar. Like the Republic itself. Maybe Mimitar people that are mad at the Republic for what happened in Turner. Refugees. Because we know that there's a lot of problems with the Turner refugees at the moment. People resettling. So, let's look up the words are inbound. Also, clanners from the Ashes of Turner implies that it's a clan. So, there has been a lot of, man, there's been so many conflicts. I don't even know if I can track them all. Okay, hold on. So, part of the conversation, Mining Rush default Amar. So, we need Mining Rush default Gallente. Rogue drone swarms are the Gallente enemy. That tracks. And Garistis are the Caldari one. Interesting. That's weird. All right. Okay, charge the gun. That's where we're at. Captain, UCF extremists are held up in occupational industrial housing and are refusing to work unless the state surrenders to their demands. We just learned about them. We sent an arbiter, Karura, to deal with them, but they've drained its capacitor. Yeah, so this is, yeah, they're bringing in the T2 Dreads to attack. Boost the Karura's capacitor so it can smash these upstarts before the news leaks. The UCF rebellion has been handled. Nothing to see here, just a little dispute, but we put a stop to it. We're too late. The interstellar media's got wind of this little rebellion and has been ordered to negotiate with these traitors. Captain, I'm afraid things have gotten political and we've been ordered to stand down. That's a really good scenario. That feels really good. Oh, we're not doing all the charge the gun. We're just going to jump straight to push your luck. We've detected valuable artifacts buried inside asteroids coming from via abyssal rifts. Mine the asteroids, recover them, and the state will pay you handsomely. The strange ore they're buried inside. This is the abyssal ore mining site that we saw. And these are all the same. So there's actually 21 total sites. 5 of the sites have 4 racial varieties, and the abyss site has only 1 that all 4 races deal with. So the abyssal artifacts one is a site that's shared by all 4 empires. So this is just kind of the same description of the same thing, or a different description of the same thing. Glad to see. So then we have charge the gun default Gallente. Glad to see you, Captain. Primacy ultranationalists are using this decommissioned base to coordinate a terrorist attack. We've sent a peacekeeper Hubris, but they're draining its capacity to keep it from firing. One of the things I find it funny is that we were just talking about how the Gallente and the destabilization and how the ultranationalists kind of rose to power during 2000. Like, that book was written in 2016. So, yeah. The problems the Gallentes are having right now are internal. The primacy is in retreat. Damn it, report just in. They've completed their attack. They're scurrying away, and our hubris is needed by the relief efforts. Welcome to the party, Captain. Sorry we finished without you. Hurts to say it, but it's too late, Captain. The primacy carried out their attack and then ran back to into their ultranationalist holes. I want to spoil that one. Which one do you want to spoil? What? Amar. For tourist timing, Captain. You want to spoil the Caldari one? If you have information, I'd love to know it. Okay. Fortuitous timing, Captain. Our Legatus Bane has been sent by the holders to deal with this Blood Raider infestation. But they are draining its capacity to keep it from firing. I mean, okay. You could argue about what pirate faction to do, but like, if the issue is that they're draining the capacitor, it's the Blood Raiders. That makes sense. Oh, you wanna ruin the site. I got you. You wanna help. You wanna help the UCF, right? Is that what you're saying? I bet you could rep these rats. I'm just gonna guess that right now. Blood Raider Temple has been demolished. This was a righteous victory. The holders will be pleased. Our time is left. The Legatus Bane has been ordered to return by the holders. For now, the Blood Raiders have won. Welcome, Captain. Those Blood Raiders have already been defeated. Too late, I'm afraid. We have been forced to retreat. Captain! These angels have been exploiting local clans within protection schemes. We have sent a Verndari Valrin, whatever, T2 Dread, to clear them out before they can collect their creds. But they bled its capacitor dry. That'll shut this little enclave down for good. We have confirmation the clans have transferred their creds, and the angels, typo, are moving on. There's nothing more for us here. By the way, the reason why I'm pointing out the typo is because I know that Sitoni is here, and I hope that he's taking notes. Welcome to the former Angel Stronghold, well, Captain. Now just another reminder of what happens when you try and take advantage of the Matari. That's if you show up when it's already done. Just too late, Captain. These thugs already got their creds and scurried away. Duristas are falling back, and we have the contraband secured. Good work out there, Captain. These goods will be put to much better use. This is the no escape. So this is you stopping. This is your raiding and trying to stop the freighters from, or the transports from getting away. Damn it, the Gristas have escaped with enough goods to set up again elsewhere. This black market have already been successfully shut down. We're too late. They've cleaned it up and, well, we don't know where yet. Wait, hold on. Why is there a default Caldari one that I missed? I don't know. Captain, we need your help bagging narcotics from these drug-pushing Serpentis snakes as they run. If you have a warp disruptor, I know what event I'm going to be doing. If you have a if you have a warp disruptor, tackle the Nerus mules and as they undock from the narcotics lab and then blow them apart before they can run. I think that just on the cuff, I'm going to say that I think that the no escape one sounds the most fun. Narcotics has been impounded and the remaining Serpentis are on the run. Nice job, Captain. Federation justice will not be denied. You have my gratitude and some extra creds. I look forward to working with you again soon. Damn, we didn't manage to grab enough. Now those snakes will just set up their operation elsewhere. Well, you tried your best. Just cleaning up here. The Serpentis have already been shut down. Good to see someone ready to lend a hand. Damn it, they've already slithered off, I'm afraid, Captain. Captain, the Blood Raiders have stolen war clone blanks for their mad idolatry. We want them back. Oh yeah, because Amar have never done anything bad with war clones. If you have a warp disruptor activated on the Ulfuri sigils as they undock from the Hall of Sacrifice and destroy them before they can flee. War clones have been retrieved. The Blood Raiders have abandoned their efforts. That's it. The Idolaters have escaped with too many war clones. Those on the site retreating to some other dark resources to carry out their false worship. The enemy has already started being crushed and is in retreat. The Idolaters have already escaped. There's nothing more for you to do here. The clan is sheltering Ash's deserters with Ash's deserters. Okay. Trying to come together. We're here to flush them out and take back what's ours. If you have warp disruptors fitted, use them on their plunder wreaths to undock from the clan commons, then destroy them before they run. By the way, I do have one thing that I wanted to call out. I meant to call this out like at the very, 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 very beginning, but this is mostly just a call out on me. It just for full disclosure and for full like I guess honesty, I will say that it does pretty much seem like I was wrong about the first expansion and its relationship to transmuters. We don't know 100% yet that, but the idea that I don't know what happened, okay? Like, but we clearly didn't really get the nullsec terraforming stuff this expansion yet. So, yeah, I just wanted to call that out. I was wrong about that. I don't know what that means for the Tash Mercon invading Stain situation, but we'll just have to see. Those supplies are headed back to the Republic Navy where they belong, and the Ashes are crawling back to where they belong to. Cowardly clanners, they've caught enough of their stolen supplies out, now they're making a run for it. Operation is already complete, and the supplies are headed back to the front. Those ignorant clanners have already scurried away, taking our supplies with them. Welcome to the Black Market Raid. Oh, this is the Caldari one. Captain, we need your help securing the contraband from these pirates. If you have a warp disruptor, use it on the Badger runners as they undock from the black market, then destroy them before they escape. An unstable... Nope, that's the Mutanite. So, wait, hold on. So going back to the no escape, Caldari. Okay, it is Garistas, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Garistas. Yeah, they didn't mention the Garistas in the one here, and so I was wondering whether or not other because Caldari have kind of the most seedy underbelly groups going around besides the Thucker, I guess. And so it might have been more than just the Garistas, but it sounds like it is just the Garistas, which is fine. All right. So this is the ore, Mutanite. An unstable form of ore, Mutanite is rendered useless by any attempt to refine it with technologies currently available in New Eden. Despite this, it is highly prized for the cluster's major factions. As a unique and ever-shifting molecular structure holds the promise of new insights in the abyssal environments inside which they are formed. So again, it's just a commodity. Maybe someday it'll be different, but most commodities say something like that, like the scorched lock, like the pirate lockboxes. Yeah, whatever. Long shot relay. That's the part of the structures. Mimotar device designed to receive and then transmit data to a receiver light years away, most likely all the way back in Republic space. So it's like a different kind of fluid router, maybe. Probably wanting to, well, because it's probably more secure than a fluid router. Which is a suspicious thing to say, but, you know, whatever. We're going to leave it on. Test info until the real one is made by game design. Amazing. So that's UI game goal config parameters testing info. That's good. I like it. Contribution method test info. So this sounds like it's like the contribution stuff, like the different corporation goals. Yeah, projects. Home to missionary services charged with providing charitable support for those who have been freed as a result of providing services to the Empire has come under attack by the Disciples of Purity as they oppose the slim possibility of social mobility this charity represents. Uh-huh. Okay. And we're getting some new names. We're going to have to go check to see which one, you know, if these names are tied to anything, because some of them sound familiar. Called it. Called which part, Marcus? Is the war clone text for an event? is one of the opportunity sites. It's the Amar opportunity site, because the Blood Raiders get war clones. So you're raiding a Blood Raider base, and they're trying to get away with their war clones. Right? Is that right? I think that was the one. Being mad about the Emancipation Edict. Oh! Yes. Blood Raiders Hall of Sacrifice. The pure-blooded are prepared and drained in Sunny Sabic rituals dedicated to the Red God. The holders control this system, has sent this providence to oversee the operations and reclaim their stolen war clones. Gallente designed system range broadcast tower that uses quantum fields to transmit. The broadcaster is slow to charge, but once ready, its signal overpowers almost all receiving devices within its range. That's a remote. It's an override broadcaster. Oh, okay, so that's the thing that the Caldari don't want, because this thing can just blanket out the Caldari's signals and basically send its own pirate message. Jamming arrays designed to stop the broadcaster from being targetable, as well as hide the point of origin from any receiving devices. Caldari made shield arrays. These are all just the pieces to the stuff. Imperial Construct designed to transmit a virus that finds and exploits vulnerabilities in other devices, forcing them to malfunction as destructively as possible. That's the Sacred Exploiter. And the Mega Finance Siphoner. This tower houses a computer running a low-level AI backed up by over a kilometer of CPUs to provide additional computational power. Okay. All dedicated to performing one task, the discrete moving of financial assets using encrypted accounting operations, giga-layered finance incentives, and capable of executing billions of operations a second. The Siphoner is able to move trillions of ISK while making it nearly impossible for any other device or human to discern where creds have been moved to from or to. I made a couple of cheeky comments so far today, like the service or like the work. What is it? Freedom through work or whatever it was. You know, the Auschwitz camp sign, but like it really, and the Bitcoin jokes, but like it really does feel a little bit like CCP plays off of real world stuff, just like in the slightest, most cheekiest way, because this right here is a Bitcoin farm. You can't convince me of anything else. Occupied industrial housing, the structure where workers assigned to this site to live, eat, perform recreational activities, and spend all their time, has been occupied and repainted by the UCF forces protesting wartime measures brought in by the Caldari state. So of course, we kill them. Once a part of the Federation Defense Network and Missile Response System, its decommissioned base is now being used as an operations center by the Gallente Primacy. This terrorist group is refitted the remote launch transmitters inside of the base and plans on using them to launch a deadly assault on federal administrative structures somewhere in the system. Oh, usually federal terrorists go after Caldari stuff. Art imitates life, life imitating art. Yeah, it's true. I've always felt this is like, I've felt this way for a long time. And like, I used to actually openly believe that CCP used, like, had their story have like echoes of things that were happening in real life. But then things started happening in real life that echoed things that had happened in Eve in like 2016, 2017. So I gave up and decided that it's all a conspiracy, and clearly Bob is real and influencing all of this. It's all a simulation. The drifters are trying to warn us. We are the sleepers. I really need to do that thing again. Or I need to do that thing. If only there was like more time to do stuff. This Angel Cartel station was constructed to act as a base for their protection racket and the surrounding solar systems. A Retribution assault frigate fitted with ECM capabilities to shroud the actions of its secret cabal. This vessel is piloted by masked members of the heretical Disciples of Purity. These conspirators hide their identities even from each other, as they do whatever it takes to undermine the Empress and Amar's heirs. We are the precursors? No, well, the sleepers are also precursors. No, the idea is that reality is actually the construct. We are the sleepers, and Eve is the other attempting to convince us, remind us that we are actually living in a simulation. The Inquisitor frigate fits with remote armor repairs to bolster its fellow heretics. This vessel is piloted by masked members. Yeah. So we've got all the different rat types. Cool. The Dragoon has ECM capabilities. We'll look at the rats closer in a second. Oh my god, no, we're not. We're going to wrap this up and head on out. Anything else? Anything else? These are all the volumetric clouds. UI personalization, paint tool license duration, day license. Project cancel, project completed, new project available. Has been created by creator, has been closed and will not accept contributions. Epic Arc. Determines how long this design will be available on the selected structure after activated. Yeah. It's all just... why is there an extra Epic Arc put in here? Descriptions of the different weapon systems, which I'm sure will be plenty of information, but I don't have time for that right now. More of the text. The different... Oh, okay, so they have different Mutanites. They have different Mutanite ore for the different empires? Wait, the Solus variant of Mutanite forms in a gamma abyssal environment. So the abyssal environment, or the abyssal, the metaliminal. This is the metaliminal mining stuff. Okay, so these exotic weathers. So this is the ore that's mined in the metaliminal sites. Maybe? That's interesting. So basically Matrix Resurrection. I often say that, like, if you want to understand the Sleeper, like, lore, it's basically the Matrix, but Agent Smith has won, took over the Matrix, and is now escaping by possessing people and bodies. Your faction needs help. Major factions. Okay. Throughout HiSec, major factions looking for additional support while their own forces are devoted to the war efforts. Homefront operations offer capsules a chance to earn rewards by working together. Success in these sites may require a group. Blah 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 blah. Nothing about the rewards. Oh, here we go. Yeah. See, you can tune down the volumetric clouds. More of the same strings, I think. Wait. Oh, this is about the damaging other ships. These are all opportunities and stuff and projects. Spawners. Environment stuff. That filled with suspended bodies of war clones awaiting consciousness transfer. War clones are humans engineered for infantry combat. They were regarded as a valuable biological equipment and are particularly prized by the Blood Raider Covenant as Omir Sarakuza, infamous sect of Sanisabak. Cultists consider the blood of clones to be the purest possible sacramental use in their sanguine rituals. Intended for the black market. So yeah, we're going to be getting commodities, right? So like we get this large sealed package filled with drugs. So you don't actually get real drugs, I don't think. You get these. You need to hack at least 5 of the research comm towers, mainframes, or data banks inside of the Caldari, Mimitar, Gallente data node sites. The valuable... Oh, this is transport real. Oh, by the way, I sincerely believe that CCP wants us to finish up the project now because, like, the sites have been... There's been a lot more sites that I've found in Shadow Wars, and they have a lot more transporter data core stuff dropping from the looks of things. So get out there and let's finish this shit. 5 data cores, 1 cerebral accelerator. In Intaki, Pamene, or Hades. Do this. Blah, blah, blah. Zealot. Ineligible type. Nano coatings, open opportunities, total job cost. Repeat, I repeat. We have confirmation of Drifter Battleship. You've got no chance against this monster. Get out of there. Push your luck. So, in the Push Your Luck event, I don't remember exactly which one that is, the Drifter shows up in the end. Cool. Okay, well. There you go. Get out. Reparation convoy has been ambushed by Guristas pirates. Last survivor, China Predator. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so there's a lot of other stuff here, but I don't see sites associated with the Santra incursions that are present with the Santra nations begin an incursion within a concept. Why are there new incursion details? I don't know if this means that there's something happening to incursions, or they just copied it over, and so the strings came over. Like, that sometimes happens. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Look, unfortunately, I also have to go, and I have to go to the bathroom. So, I think I just need to say, thank you all for watching. I have been Ashtarothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about it since 2012, and I'm here to put even to context for you, my fellow Empyreans. Thank you all for coming and hanging out and giving your insights and checking it out. Thank you if you're watching this as an edited form. Thank you so much. One more request to please take a little bit of time to like the stream and leave a little comment. It matters more than you know. In fact, because I had to do other stuff for a little while, my numbers have dipped down a little bit. So let's remind YouTube that people like my stuff. Thank you guys so much. And a special thanks to my top sponsors, Abyssus, Aikawarazu Chan, Arkas Ilring, Arydanika the Queen, Belligerent Neckbeard, Black Rose Noble, Dajat Lemmont, Drake, Golden Age Story, J. Kuhn, Lumi, Malak Starfire, Midnight Spanx Monkey, Not Just Fun, Seeds of Plenty, Serenolin with No Eyes, Syliana Vel'ash, Tgen Tgen, Nephilim, Grendel, Yantey Lepouf, Zaul Nex, as well as my Immortal tier supporters, 745 MPSI, Eboleet, May, Merc Utan, Nihilum, LM1, Rid, and Sheesh, who, like, if you're seeing this, Sheesh, we missed you today. Where were you? We love you. Put your answer in the comments. But with all that said, I have been Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and I'll see you in the Viridian expansion. Can't wait. Also, Reality's a Lie, buy gold. Also join the COE. We do cool things. Also, if you need a buddy code, get one from down below. Also, thanks to all my members and all that stuff. Love you guys. Bye.
Bring on the wrecking machine. every city